brought her to my doctor's appointment. That's disrespectful. I asked him, I was like, the day after my son was born, I said, you can come up here and see the baby. He said, oh no, I'm
and what does it matter if I drop him off? I was the only one willing to give him a ride to see his own kid.
That's disrespectful.
I have kids. I know what it's like being a single mom, and I would not be with Jesse if he would not take care of responsibility.
She cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
She was gone with her ex on my birthday, and then come crawling back after that.
She was gone with Mr. Dallas or somebody else?
Somebody else. There could be more than one person that she's been with.
It's not true, Your Honor.
Ms. Clark says Mr. Newby bailed when she got pregnant because his new girlfriend, Ms. Faulkner, filled his head with doubts. Mr. Newby claims Ms. Clark was seeing someone else, and if he is the dad, wants custody because he thinks she's unfit. And just when it seems messy enough, the emotions explode.
Ms. Clark, you claim that you and the defendant, Mr. Newby, dated for only 3 months before you became pregnant with his baby. You say the relationship was moving forward until he left you for a woman you claim is old enough to be his mother. It is your belief that she is the reason Mr. Newby is denying paternity.
Ms. Clark shares her tough past. Her dad's decided to eliminate himself, her mom's death, and addiction struggles during pregnancy. She admits to using drugs while pregnant, but says jail helped her clean up. The crowd applauds her turnaround, but the drama's far from over. Because, of course, it's paternity court, and it only gets messier.
Your Honor, when I met him, I was in drug use, but, you know, we were together for 3 months. When he left me, I felt abandonment because when I was younger, at 13 years old, my dad had hung himself because of drug use. And then 5 years later, my mother had died when I was 18 years old because of cancer. So when he left me when I was 7 months pregnant, I felt abandonment and pain and agony.
Mr. Newby's suspicions take center stage. He thinks Ms. Clark cheated, and others kept feeding his doubts. He was initially excited about the pregnancy, even showed off the sonogram, but the gossip got to him. Then things take a strange turn involving fake baby photos.
When she first went to jail, she would call me, and yeah, I would talk to her because I was thinking that the baby might possibly be mine. I've had my doubts from the very beginning. She's constantly lied. She's cheated on me with her ex, like, what, 3-4 times?
No, only once. You know, you had doubts about being a father or whatever, then why'd you have this picture taken with me with the first ultrasound and being happy about being a father?
Things get weird when Ms. Clark admits sending Mr. Newby a random baby photo from the internet. Yep, a total internet baby to test if he cared. It only made Mr. Newby more suspicious. And that's not the end. Next up, it's all about hospital visits and boundary disputes.
Well, it was a picture of the internet. It sent him the picture, but I was just upset because
why
he had left me to see if he would like show any interest of seeing his son because he wasn't doing that.
You showed him a picture of a fake baby as if the baby had born.
Yeah,
yes.
A newborn baby. I got a picture on my cell phone. While I was at work, I showed my manager and ran home.
Hospital drama kicks off as Ms. Clark accuses Mr. Newby of showing up to appointments with Ms. Faulkner. She calls it disrespectful, while Ms. Faulkner claims she was just giving a ride. Clearly, no one's on the same page, and now they're arguing about who pays for what.
He brought her to my doctor's appointment. That's disrespectful. I asked him, I was like, the day after my son was born, I said, you can come up here and see the baby. He said, oh no, I'm
and what does it matter if I drop him off? I was the only one willing to give him a ride to see his own kid.
That's disrespectful.
I have kids. I know what it's like being a single mom, and I would not be with Jesse if he would not take care of responsibility.
Ms. Clark accuses Mr. Newby of barely helping with the baby. He says he tried, but Ms. Clark always refused anything from Ms. Faulkner. Judge Lake jumps in, urging Mr. Newby to take more responsibility. But you can tell this fight is far from over, especially as the fitness to raise the child gets questioned.
I would call him and ask him if he can watch him or whatever, if he wants to see him. He said, I can't right now.
That is not
I want to take care of the baby. I tried taking care of the baby. You would not.
And when we bought stuff for the baby, she refused. She said, because Joanne got it, I don't want it. Because I bought it. She did not want to receive the gifts. And she did not want to want it.
But it's not your responsibility. It's his.
Our money is combined.
Yeah, the money.
I don't care.
Mr. Newby claims Ms. Clark is unfit because she used drugs while pregnant. Judge Lake points out Ms. Clark's efforts to get clean. And even Mr. Newby admits she's improved. It's all leading up to the big moment. The DNA results are about to be revealed.
How are you going to be 7 months pregnant and then stick a needle into both of your guys' bodies?
But I
like that baby had to go through that for no reason. She didn't even give him a chance.
Ms. Clark admitted that was an absolute irresponsible action, which was inexcusable. I heard her say that. Mr. Newby, you are the father.
Ms. Holshoe storms into court claiming her mom had a fling with the defendant's dad, making her their sister. The Howard sisters are furious and call her a liar. Ms. Holshoe points out her name in the dad's obituary, and the drama levels up with more accusations.
Ms. Holshoe, you claim your mother had an affair with the defendant's father, and today you're in court to prove that he is your biological father. Ms. Howard, you and your sisters say Ms. Holshoe is a delusional troublemaker whose promiscuous mother destroyed your family and ruined your home.
Ms. Holshoe says she has terminal cancer and wants closure on her dad. She heard about her real dad when her drunk stepdad spilled the tea during a fight. Her mom confirmed it, and things got messy from there.
I've recently learned that I have terminal cancer, and I'd like to have family history, and I also, which I know they don't want to, but I would also like to, because my stepdad was drunk, he was fighting with my mother, and he said, well, who do you think your father is? And so after that, my mother told me. She took me and introduced me to DL. We had a relationship from then on.
The Howard sisters admit their dad once mentioned Ms. Holshoe might be their sister, but brush it off, claiming her mom slept around. The courtroom erupts into a messy argument, feeling like a Thanksgiving dinner gone bad.
One time when I was 19 years old, my dad, he was in from California. My parents were already divorced. We were in from California. He had us all meet him out at a country bar. We showed up, that and her mother was there. And after about a half hour, we had some drinks and stuff, and my dad
I don't even remember that, and she's lying, and I'm not a that. If anybody's a that, look over there.
Whatever the case may be.
The sisters talk about their dads cheating, but refuse to believe Ms. Holshoe. They share details from their lives, like detectives solving a case they want to ignore, throwing in some mean comments about her mom.
I was in California living with my father. We had packed up our things and moved out because my father had gone to at the bar where her mother was working and caught her cheating on him. Probably has no idea who any of her children belong to.
It's not my fault you guys don't want to know me. It's not my fault that your dad had sex with my mother, and I'm a product of that.
Ms. Holshoe says she was invited to a Howard family reunion by Mr. Howard, but the sisters lose it, calling her a liar. She claims they chased her out, which the sisters deny. It's turning into a real soap opera.
Your Honor, Mr. Howard invited me to a Howard family reunion.
Lies.
It was at Guilford Lake.
That is a total lie.
How does she know where the reunion is if she was invited or someone didn't tell her?
Your Honor, I have been to every single family reunion.
And I have been
she
to...
has never been.
Is it held at that location?
I'm sure that she has this information because she's gone from my other sister.
Kelly Howard says she believes Ms. Holshoe because their dad literally introduced her as her sister. Everyone is left wondering if their dad ever thought this situation would end well.
Well, we were out one day, and I was about 19, and he said that he wanted me to meet one of his girlfriends. Met several of them before. So we go to Lynn's mother. He introduces me to her as my sister. We just went about our way after that, and I just took it as for what it was and just...
You never questioned it?
No. Our dad never lied to us.
Judge Lake reveals the DNA results.
That the probability of half-siblingship between Diana Howard and Misty Lynn Holshoe is 98.1%.
Two moms, Miss Taylor and Miss Johnson, team up against Mr. Barber, accusing him of being a deadbeat dad. They want over $7,000 in child support, and they're not holding back. This is just the start of the blames the moms for wanting too much money and causing drama. Miss Taylor claims he only cares about one kid because he's still sneaking around with that mom. It's like a soap opera, and the drama is just heating up.
The only reason you can't support the children you have with Miss Taylor and Miss Johnson is because they ask for too much money. They create too much drama.
Miss Taylor says she gave birth alone, while Mr. Barber flirted on his phone. He blames work, but she's not buying it. This is just leading to more tension.
I had my daughter by myself. My mother's deceased. My family could not get there. I come.
Judge Lake scolds everyone for all the shouting, saying it hurts the kids. She compares their constant fighting to nails on a chalkboard. The moms roll their eyes, and Mr. Barber tries to act calm. Let's see if anyone steps up. Miss Cooper, the third mom, actually defends Mr. Barber, calling the others bitter. She claims he's great with her kid. The room gets awkward, but the financial drama isn't over.
Do you feel like he treats your child differently?
No, I don't. I feel like he loves all his kids the same. I just feel like me and him have came to a common ground to co-parent. Our relationship and what we've been through, none of that matters.
Is he good?
Yes, he is. Very well.
Love.
She's a daddy's girl. She only wants to be with him.
Johnson, 3,180. She tells Mr. Barber being a dad is more than just photo op. drops. It's like a game show where nobody wins.
You know, it is this
A reality check. Time to grow up and stop letting his kids down. The moms hope he takes it seriously. It ends on a hopeful note, but this drama feels far from over.
When you got these women pregnant, you didn't know who you were. But now...
Wow, this episode kicks off with fireworks. Miss Jackson is in court to face her husband's mistress and prove the mistress's baby isn't her husband's. Oh, and she's ready to end her marriage if she's wrong. Yep, it's going to be one of those cases. Let's go. Discovery of the affair.
Miss Jackson, you say you're here to confront your husband's mistress and to prove her 1-month-old daughter, Kiesha, is not his biological daughter.
Your Honor.
Furthermore, you say you learned today that the child is in fact your husband's. Your marriage is over.
That's right, Your Honor.
Things get real when Miss Jackson tells the story of how she found out her husband was sneaking around. Oh, but Miss Jackson wasn't having it. This was just the warm-up round of the drama.
I got an epiphany. Call it woman's intuition, whatever you want. Well, I went to my husband's job. It was about 9:30 or 10:30 at night. He approached the car. We talked for a few minutes. To end our conversation, I told him, feel as though there's something going on that you hadn't told me, because he had been distant in the days prior to. I had put him out.
The mistress, Miss Lipscomb, tries to explain herself. And her story, it's wild. She says Mr. Jackson told her he wasn't married, even though he was rocking a wedding ring. But instead of smelling the lies, she bought his excuse. It's about to get even messier, so stick around.
When she came to their job, why did she come up there or why didn't she come up there? I've never seen her a day in my life. I knew her voice. I was sitting up, Mr. Jackson, and she calls and the kids calls. That's how I know her voice so high pitched. You can hear her through the phone. My BM, which is my baby mother. BM does not spell wife. Wife is spelled W-I-F.
Oh, she
not
can spell,
BM.
Your Honor. Wow.
Imagine catching your husband's mistress chilling in a hotel room you're paying for. Yeah, that happened. Miss Jackson recalls finding Miss Lipscomb at the hotel and letting her know exactly who the boss is. Spoiler alert, this showdown gets even crazier when Mr. Jackson shows up later.
Maybe a week after that, I was talking to, because my husband went to jail that night, Your Honor. I was angry enough. It was an impulsive decision, and I understand it was not the right decision, Your Honor, because I knew that he had some legal issues going on in another state. The next morning, I go to the room, find Miss Lipscomb laying in the bed crying.
I told you I was going back to the room, talking to me.
Oh, here comes Mr. Jackson, looking like he just walked into a tornado. He admits he never told Miss Lipscomb he was married, saying, she didn't ask. Really? That's the excuse? The judge isn't buying it, and honestly, neither are we. What happens next is gold. Miss Jackson's generosity.
Miss Lipscomb says she had no idea you had a wife.
No, she didn't, because I never mentioned it to her, Your Honor.
So that part of her statement is true. You never told her you were married.
No, Your Honor.
When Miss Lipscomb first started talking, I didn't believe for 1 minute that she didn't really know you were married, and confirmed the lie.
Oh, I didn't tell her no lie. I just never mention it to her. She never asked.
You think Miss Jackson would be done, right? Nope. She actually bought baby stuff for the mistress's kid because she felt bad. She thought the drama was over, but surprise, Miss Lipscomb admits the affair never really stopped. This mess is nowhere near cleaned up.
Not only have we had conversations, before I didn't deny the child, I went and bought over $900 and some worth of stuff for her baby. Like I told her, from the conversation, Your Honor, she seemed really distraught. She said that, I don't know how it feels not to know who your child's father is, Your Honor. Whether it's my husband's child or not, out of the kindness of my heart, Your Honor, I understand that we all have shortcomings.
Just when you think it's bad enough, Miss Jackson drops another bomb. Miss Lipscomb might have had another boyfriend during all this. She even brings receipts, aka Facebook posts, to prove it. Let's just say, things are starting to feel more like a soap opera in real life. Hang tight.
I found out when I was in jail, because I guess the beginning of the year, her birthday time, she got sick and went to the hospital. And my wife told me that she said she was pregnant then.
On her Facebook page, Your Honor, she had listed that she was going to the hospital. At that time, Your Honor, she was with another man, and I have evidence.
This piece of evidence shows that she was also dealing with another man.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, but Mr. Jackson didn't just sign the birth certificate. He was at the hospital. He put this baby on his wife's military benefits too. Like, that's not a big deal. The audacity, off the charts. And you already know, Miss Jackson is not about to let that slide.
He didn't cut the cord, but he was there.
So he did come for the birth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes.
You did?
So if it's not his child, why would he sign the birth certificate? Even more to speak on her
behalf. So Mr.
Jackson,
you've acknowledged paternity?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's why the baby was placed on my benefit.
The baby is what?
Anything for my
placed
child.
on my benefit, Your Honor. I also have proof of that.
At this point, the whole courtroom is on edge as these two women go back and forth like it's the finals in a shouting competition. Miss Lipscomb says Miss Jackson is just using the baby as a reason to divorce Mr. Jackson. The judge steps in to say, enough already, but trust me, the next part is going to leave you shook.
Oh, I just believe she wants to know if this is his child so she can divorce him. Don't use my child as a crutch. If you want to divorce him, divorce him. Don't use my child as a crutch. This woman is delusional. The whole time I was pregnant,
I'm delusional,
she swore
but I'm
that
married
she
and
was
you're messing
pregnant.
with my husband.
She's been pregnant 4 times since I have had my daughter.
She's not telling you that I'm pregnant now. That's the part that she hadn't admitted to.
I told you every time.
The moment everyone's been waiting for. The DNA test comes back, and boom.
When it comes to 1-month-old Keasia Jackson, Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
This kicks off like a reality show where nobody's winning. Mr. Burrage says he's been played and wants his name off the birth certificate, plus his money back for childcare. Mrs. Stephanies is fed up, saying Burrage was a great dad until now. Things are already wild, but they're about to get wilder.
Mr. Barrage, you've dragged Miss Stephens to court because you say you're being played for a fool. And when today's DNA results prove that you are not her daughter, father, you demand that your name be removed from her birth certificate and you be reimbursed for the past 8 months of child care expenses.
Both had side flings. Welcome to the world's messiest love triangle. Burrage admits he had a girlfriend while seeing Miss Stephanies, who also had another guy. Miss Stephanie says Burrage knew what he was getting into, but things turned awkward real fast. If you thought this was messy, just wait, there's more.
I also had another woman on the side, and you had another guy on the side.
And I never knew it was a girlfriend. We were together every day since the first day we started hanging out.
No.
But when I sent you the pregnancy test and told you I was pregnant, you said what? I'm gonna be in her life. That's my child. You was there, you signed the birth certificate, cut the umbilical cord. I didn't force you to do anything. You chose to do that willingly because you felt obviously that she was your child.
That's like a soap opera crossed with a bad rom-com. Burrage claims he was trapped into this baby, saying she wanted him away from his girlfriend. Ms. Stephanie says he chose to be there because he liked how she treated her kids. The judge looks like she needs a lie detector test for this one. But hey, it's just getting started.
That's my child. I'm gonna be in his or her life. He's saying that I was just something to do, but that was never my impression. Me and Fernando, we was together all the time. It wasn't no one night stand. We was together consistently every day. I didn't think we were in a relationship, but I thought it was more because I knew that my intentions was to get more than what it was.
And you also said this to me, talking like you gonna try to take me away from my girl. You know what I'm saying? Trying to set me up, trying to trap me.
This is nosy neighbor heaven. Gossip galore. Burrage says neighbors told him Stephanies was seeing half the block, making him question if the baby was his. He even points out the baby's complexion is too different. Ms. Stephanies rolls her eyes like she's had enough of this nonsense. The judge starts piecing things together, but it only gets weirder.
I didn't know how many guys she slept with. Guys coming out the blue in the neighborhood while I stay, just come out the blue. I hit that, I hit that.
And he's going off with other people saying, ask him, does he know anything that's for sure? Not what people are saying.
Do you know for sure? Do you have any proof of this?
I have proof, Your Honor. For one, Your Honor, I don't have light blue, green, hazel eyes, Your Honor. That's for one.
The other guy has light eyes.
Yes, Your Honor.
This part is either touching or hilarious. Burrage shares he didn't have a dad growing up and didn't want the same for Phelan, but now feels foolish. Ms. Stephanie says she thought Burrage was her ride or die, now feels humiliated. Just when things seem settled, bam, a twist.
I really don't know who my father is, because my name ain't on the birth certificate other than what my mother tell me, but ain't no name on the birth certificate. On my generation, my close in that family all the way to like 1874. And like far as our genetic code, we got big eyes, big nose, big lip. That baby got light eyes, little nose.
From you, Mr. Barrage, she's my child also. She can have my genes.
Things just got crazier. Ms. Stephanies reveals she's 5 months pregnant with Burrage's baby. Burrage says she trapped him again, while she insists otherwise. The judge looks like she could use a coffee break, and honestly, same. But the drama isn't over yet.
My biological mom wasn't in my life, nor my father. I didn't meet him till I was 12. And ain't no telling if that's my biological father. Why would I put my children? Phelan is my 5th child. I'm pregnant again by Mr. Barrage. And what, to go through the same thing? I'm 5 months pregnant as we speak now.
She trapped me, Your Honor. She trapped me with this one.
Things get awkward fast. Stephanies admits she was with another guy, but says it ended before Phelan was conceived. Burrage isn't buying it, thinking he might not be the only possible dad. The audience practically yells at their TVs, trying to solve this like a crime drama. The tension here could power a whole city.
Have you ever had a sexual relationship with this other guy? So you have. What he's saying is you've had a sexual relationship with this guy. For some reason, you're still around him all the time.
Because
unprotected sex, Your Honor.
Was it unprotected or protected sex?
Unprotected. When I initially when I met Mr. Barrage, that relationship, no, not at the same time.
Who else? It might be another man, baby.
Not
you know they got a name for themselves.
This had everyone rolling their eyes. Burrage says Stephanies put voodoo on him, earning a look from the judge like, really? The judge points out Burrage signed the birth certificate and played dad. Stephanie says she wanted more than just a fling, and now she feels tossed aside. Finally, the moment of truth is near.
Both of you have stood in court today and testified that you feel like fools.
Yes, Your Honor. A special type of food, though, Your Honor.
What kind?
She put some type of voodoo on me or something, Your Honor.
Act acting like you don't care nothing about this girl. You are wasting my time. I'm trying to get to this paternity issue, and you trying to act like you don't care nothing about this girl. Hit it and quit it girl that you don't care nothing about.
The DNA results are the grand finale.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Barrage, you are her father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Lake kicks off Butterfield versus Bracknell Dallas, a messy paternity case about baby Kara. Butterfield claims he's the father, while Bracknell insists it's her fiancé Dallas. You can already feel the chaos brewing.
Mr. Butterfield, you've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Bracknell, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Kara. You say she's denying you are Kara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Butterfield says he and Bracknell planned for a baby, and during their breakup, she mentioned a gift. He wonders if that meant Kara feeling left out of her birth. The drama's just getting started.
Me and Mrs. Bracknell had a residence together for almost a year. We did try to have a baby together before. She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, "Thank you for the gift." And I said, "What gift was that?"
And then when you found that out, you thought to yourself, was that the gift?
The baby?
Yeah, you thought
My daughter, yes.
Bracknell says she found out about the pregnancy months after leaving Butterfield. She thinks the baby looks like her other kids with Dallas, but Dallas is ready to present some evidence next.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
Honestly, I didn't find out until, I'd say 3 months after I did move out of his house. I was having irregular periods, so I just let it go for a minute. I'm not really a doctor person.
So what you're saying is, when this relationship ended, you didn't know you were pregnant?
No.
But once you found out you were pregnant...
How could you not? You're not having periods.
Dallas brings out a calendar, claiming Bracknell moved in with him when Kara was conceived. Butterfield claps back, insisting he was still seeing her. The mystery deepens.
So this calendar outlines the date when the relationship with Mr. Butterfield and Ms. Bracknell. Kara was conceived in mid-September, and she was born in June. And she ended the relationship with Mr. Butterfield at the end of August. There's no way Mr. Butterfield is Kara's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Dallas declares Kara his daughter, no matter the DNA results. Butterfield insists he'll step in if she's his. The room is tense, with emotions ready to burst.
Have you ever considered how you would react if, in fact, Kara is not your biological child?
You know what, Your Honor? I'm gonna love her the same. She's gonna be my little daughter. I'm gonna raise her my life. Nothing's gonna change. I love her to death, just like I do now. He's actually made our family stronger.
That's good. I'm not trying to get her back. I'm just trying to be in my daughter's life.
No, you just have a...
Butterfield found out about Kara via a Facebook post with someone else holding her. He accuses Bracknell of hiding it, but she denies it. The back and forth doesn't seem to end.
Yeah, the only time that I actually ever found out that you guys were even pregnant, that's a Facebook post that they posted on that the baby was even. That's before I even knew.
It says, this little girl is ready.
Yep, that little girl is ready right there. And then I also, the only thing I got was a text message from of a friend saying of her sister holding my daughter.
Butterfield accuses Bracknell of cheating and even leaving him on his birthday. She denies everything. The tension rises as they prepare for the next round of accusations.
She cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
She was gone with her ex on my birthday and then come crawling back after that.
She was gone with Mr. Dallas or somebody else?
Somebody else. There could be more than one person that she's been with.
It's not true, Your Honor.
When I found out about it, I messaged her mom, let him know I was coming. I blocked, obviously, on their
That you were coming? Let's explain that text message.
You guys even got together.
Butterfield insists Kara is his, pointing out physical similarities. Bracknell counters, saying Kara resembles Dallas and her other kids. Everyone's waiting for the DNA test to decide.
She looks more like me. Even her own family says it. They look like me. She's got my nose, she's got my lips, she's got my brown hair. All her boys are blonde.
Yep, and they've gone brown the older they get.
Exactly.
So you are convinced, Mr. Butterfield, this is your daughter?
Oh, I'm 100% convinced.
Judge Lake asks if Dallas would stay if Kara isn't his, and he says yes without hesitation. His devotion is clear, but the DNA results will soon shake everyone.
So therefore, if in fact Kara is not your biological child, will you be able to continue this relationship?
Oh, yeah.
You will?
Yep.
Okay. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Butterfield.
What did I tell you?
Your Honor, Miss Sutton is not telling you she done slept with my family members, husbands, and baby daddy. And I caught her with one of them. We have tried very hard to get along with this girl. And when I was staying with Miss Sutton, I came home and caught her in bed with one of them. Just recently, she just stopped fooling with one of my family members' husbands.
Also, too, when you meet a person, they tell on their own self what they're about. When I pulled over, we had sex on the road. Then when we got to my house...
Oh, wait a minute. You meant literally on the road.
Oh, no, not like that. Pulled over, we had sex on the road.
This whole thing starts wild and it doesn't slow down. Ms. Toure comes in swinging, calling Mr. Lacey an absentee dad and saying he's definitely the father of her son, Trevon. Get ready, because these two are about to take us on a very bumpy ride.
Ms. Toure, you are in court to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, that is the biological father of your adult son, Trevon Lacey. You state that the defendant has been an father full of excuses, and you want it all to end today in court with the truth.
The birth certificate has Mr. Lacey's name on it, but apparently it was typed in because he wasn't even there when Trevon was born. Ms. Toure admits she just gave the hospital his name. No big deal. And now he's the official dad on paper. Mr. Lacey is not buying it, though.
Your Honor, I could not have signed the birth certificate. I was incarcerated at the time, Trevon.
This birth certificate, child's name, Trevon Lacey's father's name, Larry Lacey, but it's typed in. Was he present at the birth?
He was not present, no.
You basically just gave them his name.
I gave him his name.
And they typed it in.
Yes.
Here's where things really heat up with a courtroom. He said, she said moment. Mr. Lacey says he got court papers about child support when Trevon was a baby, but he swears nobody ever offered him a DNA test. Ms. Toure's like, nope, you had your chance and you didn't take it.
I say Trevon probably was about between 3 and 6 months years old. I received a court paper, State of Ohio Child Support Court. We did both appear at the Child Support Court. The judge, he looked at me, he said, this your son, you have nothing to say.
They gave him an opportunity for a DNA.
No,
if he had any doubt that my son was not his child.
No, they did not, Your Honor.
Okay, this is where the money talk gets kind of nuts. Turns out Mr. Lacey owed $37,000 in child support. Yes, $1,000, but he's worked it down to about $5,800. But don't worry, things get even juicier when another potential dad gets mentioned.
You owe $37,200 and some odd dollars in child support, which you have
knocked it down to $5,000.
It's past due. You've paid all of that. So throughout these years, you've paid.
I've been paying off and on. You know, sometimes during them years I was unemployed. As soon as I find employment again, then, you know, my wages start being garnished.
But if you thought their backstory was going to be sweet, think again. Ms. Toure spills the tea about how she made the first move on Mr. Lacey because she thought he was charming and they got together fast. Oh, and then we get the hilarious pajama story. Buckle up for this one.
I met Ms. Toure was on the city bus and she was on the city bus, and she had oldest son to walk up to me and give me a piece of paper with a phone number on it. So when I looked at the phone number, I wondered who is this? So I turn around and I'm watching where the child goes. You know, Ms. Toure, I looked at her and said, nice looking young lady. You know, maybe we can get together.
This pajama drama is straight out of a sitcom. Mr. Lacey says he came back from out of town and found another man at Ms. Toure's house wearing his pajamas, like top and bottom. Ms. Toure is laughing this off, saying the guy had his own clothes and they were just hanging out.
I had to go out of town and take care of some family business for a week. When I came back into town, I knock on the door. I see my pajamas. Ms. Toure has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama bottom.
Your pajamas?
My pajamas. I didn't create no drama. I didn't fight. I didn't do anything. I turned around. I tell my cousin, I said, come on, let's go. So we left.
Trevon's got the spotlight now, and things get real. He starts by praising his mom for raising 3 kids alone, but he also admits it hurt not having a dad around. He says he made some bad choices as a kid and wishes Mr. Lacey had been there to guide him.
I want to start off by saying my mom, she was, an excellent mother. She raised 3 boys by herself, all at different ages. I believe I done turned out okay. I have Larry's absence in my life, it definitely affected me in a negative way. I started having sex at a young age. I just wish if I had a father there, he could have pointed me in the right direction.
This part is like a soap opera, only louder. Trevon pours his heart out, saying he wants closure and a chance to have a relationship with his dad. The DNA proves it. Mr. Lacey flips it, claiming Ms. Toure kept him away, while she claps back, saying he's just trying to dodge child support.
I feel like if you were there, it was a lot of, heartache and headaches that I could have avoided. As far as my children, which I believe are your grandchildren, they have a right to know who their grandfather is.
True.
So I want to let you know that. I'm just ready to get these results so we can move forward in our lives.
This part had everyone holding their breath or yelling at their screens. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by Mr. Lacey. You are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. I told you.
Okay, this is the kind of courtroom drama that makes you grab popcorn and wonder how things got this messy. The case of Sutton v. Smith kicks off with Ms. Sutton saying her ex, Mr. Smith, was living a double life while pretending to be her man.
Ms. Sutton, you say you believed you were in an exclusive relationship with Mr. Smith until you got pregnant and discovered he was living a double life. You say the defendant has denied your daughter, Kaylee, and you are in court to prove he is your child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this part of the case is like a soap opera written by Facebook posts. Ms. Sutton tells the court how she found out about Mr. Smith's other baby mama after she posted her ultrasound picture online. Apparently, the other woman slid into her messages like, "Hey girl, guess what? He's with me."
Him and his other baby mama were together when he was supposed to be with me. Like, he was staying with me, and then all of a sudden when I get pregnant, it's an issue. When I post my picture of my ultrasound when I got pregnant with my daughter on Facebook, I tagged him in it, and that's when she messaged me and she told me who she was. When she was pregnant with their daughter, he said he wasn't with her.
This is where the finger-pointing Olympics start. Mr. Smith denies ever being in a real relationship with Ms. Sutton, saying they just hooked up a couple of times.
First, I've met her through my cousin. You know, we chilled, we kicked it off. First time we had a sexual encounter, we met at my auntie's house, we stayed. So after we had sex, I had went out of town to Cleveland, Ohio on a vacation. It was on the 4th of July, and she called my cousin's phone and something like, is DJ around you? And she gave me the phone, and she was like, and she said, oh, I'm pregnant by you. I'm like, you pregnant by who?
Meanwhile, Mr. Smith claims Ms. Sutton is posting photos of the baby with random dudes online, calling it a family photo. The judge tries to keep things calm, but good luck with that because things are about to get even louder.
Me and the baby, telling everybody, oh, look, this is his baby, he denying my baby, and all this, and then that thing, I look up, you got a picture with your baby and another dude beside each other. Hey, I'm finna come up there, you want me to come up there and pull up on you and see the baby? No, my mom said if you come up here, she don't want to have nothing to do with me and my baby, so you might as well stay there. Then she gonna say that, she tried to give me a free DNA test.
This part is heartbreaking, but also filled with awkward zingers. Ms. Sutton says she went through the pregnancy completely alone, with her mom stepping in as the baby daddy. Mr. Smith argues he wasn't allowed at the hospital because he didn't have an ID, which feels like the weakest excuse of the year.
No, my mother's was my baby's father my whole pregnancy.
And then when you went to the hospital, he didn't come?
No, I invited him twice.
What you told me, not to come up here because
at the hospital, you have to have an ID. Deal with you. If you don't want to do for Katie, then don't do for Katie. Because my daughter's well taken care of. Been in school since she was 6 weeks old. She is well taken care of. Look at her.
And now, we hit the part where people start dragging each other's personal lives. Mr. Smith's mom, Ms. Colley, accuses Ms. Sutton of hooking up with half the family, saying she's been with their husbands, baby daddies, and boyfriends. Ms. Sutton fires back, saying that's not true, and even if it was, it's none of their business.
Your Honor, Miss Sutton is not telling you she done slept with my family members, husbands, and baby daddy. And I caught her with one of them. We have tried very hard to get along with this girl. And when I was staying with Miss Sutton, I came home and caught her in bed with one of them. Just recently, she just stopped fooling with one of my family members' husbands.
If you thought things couldn't get pettier, welcome to the money round. Mr. Smith admits Ms. Sutton gave him money while he was in jail, but says it doesn't mean he owes her anything. The judge rolls her eyes and basically calls him out for taking advantage of her generosity.
Every time I got incarcerated, we wasn't never in no boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. Yes, we did have a sexual intercourse with each other. So every time I done went to jail, yes, I done called LaQuay just because she put money on my book, money on my phone. When I get out, she feel like I'm obligated to stay with her. Cause come on, just because you don't spend that money, that's on you.
I just don't want you to start a sentence with every time I go to jail.
Get the tissues or maybe earplugs because Ms. Sutton lets it all out. She talks about how much it hurts to see Mr. Smith being a dad to his other kids while ignoring her daughter. She's crying, shouting, and saying she doesn't care about him, but just wants her baby to have a father.
The whole 3 years of her life has been me.
A child looks for their dad. They know their dad. They talk.
Knows him.
Does she call him daddy?
Yes, but if he would want to be in her life, I wouldn't stop him because my daddy has been in my life since day one. My mother and father are still married. I've had a 2-parent household all my life, so I know how influential having a father in a girl's life is.
This is the part where Mr. Smith actually admits he was kind of a jerk. He confesses that he lied to Ms. Sutton, led her on, and took her money while he was in jail. He even admits he knew she was in love with him, but says he always had feelings for someone else.
I realized that, and I played a part in too, cause I was lying. You know what I'm saying? I was dating somebody else, and I was staying with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we had sexual intercourse. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. She done caught feeling real deep for me, and she really want me to be with her. But like my heart was always somewhere else, and I ain't never want to try to have my cake and ice cream and eat it too.
Okay, this is the moment everyone's been waiting for. The DNA test results are in, and surprise, surprise.
It has been determined by this court. Smith, you are the father.
Can I see my baby?
No way you're her son's biological father. You suggest she contact the multiple men she slept with during the window of conception and return to court with the real daddy.
Wow, this story Lennon says, nope, not true. and explains he met her on a dating site just to see what she was about. Oh, and they both agree they hooked up the first night, so romance clearly moved at lightning speed.
I want to first off start and saying by he should.
What were they about? When I pulled over, we had sex on the road. Then when we got to my house.
Oh, wait a minute. You meant literally on the road.
Oh, no, not.
Dan signed up to be a human ATM, especially after being burned in past relationships where he wasn't the dad. The back and forth keeps getting louder, with neither of them backing down.
At the first time, yes, I was falling for my reason. Somewhere to get some food because I didn't want to go to the government for food stamps.
Did you have a job?
No, I didn't.
So you basically wanted a man to take care of you.
Times he thought he was a dad, only to find out through blood tests that he wasn't, which is why he's so skeptical now. Ms. McDaniel's sister takes the stand to say she believes Mr. Lennon is the father and claims he promised to take care of both the baby and her sister. Of course, Mr. Lennon denies all of this, saying he never made such promises.
I'm not denying.
Yes, you are denying him.
I told her about my past or what happened and how I was hurt 2 times off of a blood test.
So you've had paternity issues in the past,
yes,
paternity
Your Honor,
situation,
yes,
and you
Your
say on 2 different occasions the child turned out not to be yours?
That's his stupid
But
stuff.
you signed the birth
No,
one to
Your
get
Honor,
the
I did
DNA
not sign no
test.
birth certificate.
Ms. McDaniel fires back at the cousin's claims, saying she only ever left the house to grab a cigarette and that she stayed loyal to Mr. Lennon. Things heat up even more when the court questions her sister and cousin about who was where and when. Meanwhile, Mr. Lennon keeps insisting that this whole situation doesn't add up.
He goes to work every day about 4 o'clock in the morning. I live across the street, I smoke cigarettes, and I watch Miss McDaniels jump in and out of vehicles all while she was at our home and told the boy that she was pregnant. So my thing is this, if he's the baby father, the baby will get taken care of. But if it's not, then let Miss McDaniels go on about her business.
Ms. McDaniel says she told Mr. Lennon about the baby's birth, but he made excuses not to come, claiming he didn't have gas money. She's furious, calling him out for avoiding responsibility while still creeping on her Instagram posts about the baby. Mr. Lennon says he stayed away because he didn't want to risk more heartbreak if the baby turned out not to be his.
So now when you went to the hospital to give birth to, did you tell Mr. Lennon? Was he there?
He have an excuse that I don't have no gas to come up.
I thought you had a sugar daddy. I don't understand how. But by saying you said he don't have no gas money.
This one I'm trying to pinpoint is if he have a bank account, why didn't he have no gas money?
So you thought he was just making up excuses not to come to the hospital?
The DNA results reveal
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lennon, you are not the father.
That's right.
Like I told you.
This case starts off wild, and it's like stepping into a soap opera you didn't know you needed. The episode kicks off with Thomas v. Hadley, and Judge Lake gets straight to business. Ms. Thomas claims Mr. Hadley is denying her 7-month-old son Jeremiah while juggling a love triangle. She's asking for a paternity test to settle things once and for all. And trust me, what happens next will have you wondering who's running the messiest household in town.
Ms. Thomas, you claim you're involved in a love triangle that has resulted in the defendant denying your 7-month-old son Jeremiah.
Yes.
You've petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove that he is the father so he can stop living a double life.
The drama takes a nosedive into chaos as Mr. Hadley says, "Not my baby, not my problem." He claims his relationship with Ms. Stallworth is falling apart because Ms. Thomas won't stop accusing him. But wait, he also swears he has proof that he's not the father, like some kind of DIY detective. You think the proof is solid? Oh no, this is about to go off the rails.
Mr. Hadley, you say your current relationship with Ms. Stallworth is in jeopardy because Ms. Thomas is convinced you are the father of her child. But you say you have hard evidence to prove that you are not biological father.
It gets weirder when Ms. Thomas shows the court a photo of Mr. Hadley holding her baby like a proud dad. She says it proves he's all in as a father, but Mr. Hadley's like, nope, she set me up while I was napping. The picture fuels a fiery back and forth that's basically a battle of who can tell the bigger fib. And just when you think this photo drama is done, the story takes another wild turn.
Ms. Thomas, you submitted a photo to the court.
Yes.
That's Mr. Hadley, Jeremiah?
Yes.
That's you, right, Mr.?
Yeah, but I didn't fall asleep like that.
Yes, he did. No, he was holding him. He's gonna wake up and not let me
So
take a picture.
what are you saying? She placed the baby there?
That's a lie.
And took the picture?
No, Your Honor.
You think this can't get more dramatic? Oh, it can. Ms. Thomas spills the tea about her labor, saying Mr. Hadley was there for all 15 hours, playing coach and holding her hand. Mr. Hadley, meanwhile, says he only showed up because he felt pressured by her family. Now you're wondering, was he a caring dad-to-be or just someone trying to avoid a lecture? Let's just say the truth here is murkier than a swamp.
He was there the whole time. He got picked up. He stayed for the whole 15-hour labor. He was there the whole time, coached me through my contractions, telling me I need to breathe, everything. There's a picture of me and him. He stayed there the rest of the day.
To be honest, I felt a little pressured.
He wasn't pressured. No one told him that.
Who was putting pressure on you?
Well, number one, her family member brought me to the hospital.
And now, we're bringing calendars into this mess, as if the drama wasn't already messy enough. Ms. Thomas pulls out her trusty planner, saying the dates match up perfectly for Mr. Hadley to be the dad. Mr. Hadley claps back, saying she hooked up with someone else around the same time. This timeline is looking messier than your school desk on a Friday, but what comes next really takes the cake.
I had sex on the 19th around 12 to 2 a.m. The doctor told me I can see my son around the 22nd, which does put it in the I would be pregnant.
And your doctor told you your conception date was the 22nd?
Yes.
So you believe from that calculation that he is your child's biological father?
Yes.
Oh, so you thought a DNA test would settle things. Not so fast. It was a home DNA test, and guess what? It came back inconclusive. Judge Lake straight up roasts them for trusting a test that tells you absolutely nothing. And let me tell you, the arguments only get juicier from here.
Well, we also had a home DNA test done, and the results were inconclusive.
So are you basing a conclusion off of something that's inconclusive?
Yes.
Did you bring any evidence of that test?
No, I did not.
Enter Ms. Stallworth, who jumps into the ring like a wrestler with a grudge. She's got her own mic drop moment, backing Mr. Hadley's claims that he's not Jeremiah's dad. By now, you're just grabbing popcorn because the love triangle isn't just messy. It's straight up tangled spaghetti.
Because she was sleeping with somebody else around the same time, and the test that came back inconclusive, gearing towards a relationship, but this is
there's no gearing towards a relationship when he's staying with me. He lives with me. This is the longest since I moved.
No. Wait a minute, you live with Miss Thomas?
He lives with me.
He does not.
He lives with me.
Ms. Stallworth delivers an ultimatum so dramatic it could be in a soap opera. If Mr. Hadley is the father, she's out. Meanwhile, Ms. Thomas drops another bomb, saying Mr. Hadley's been ping-ponging between her and Ms. Stallworth for ages. Oh, but the paternity results are coming, and they're about to flip this circus on its head.
If in fact it's determined that he is Miss Thomas's son's biological father.
No, Your Honor.
You won't?
I won't.
Relationship you're working towards is on the line. Because if he's the father of her child, you don't want to be in a relationship with him.
Mr. Hadley is the father of Miss Thomas's baby. Me and Mr. Hadley would just co-parent with our daughter. Nothing further.
Boom! The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hadley, you are not his father.
Oh my God.
All right, buckle up because this one's a roller coaster of what is even happening. Mr. Mason is back in court for round 2, and he's still trying to figure out if baby Ace is his. The judge reminds us that last time, he proved he wasn't the dad of Ms. Malone's first kid.
Mr. Mason, you previously appeared in court when you proved that the defendant's 1-year-old daughter was not your child. You are now here questioning the paternity of the defendant's 5-month-old son, Ace, which stated you are the father.
Here's where things get even weirder. Mr. Mason is out here doubting science like it's some random internet poll. He says there's no way you can figure out who a dad is before the baby's even born, especially with just a swab from the mom.
I'm here for the second time, Your Honor, because I feel that Ace is not my child. I feel like that it's impossible to get a DNA for a child that's unborn just from a swab of the mother. I guess that's the only way I'm still acting the way I am toward him.
This is where things really take a left turn. Mr. Mason decides to drag Ms. Malone's fiance, Mr. Haynes, into the drama. He's convinced Mr. Haynes is the real dad because Ms. Malone hands Ace to him and says, "Go to your daddy." Ms. Malone claps back, basically saying, well, someone had to step up since you didn't.
Every time I held Ace, it's like all he did was just cry, and there was just no connection.
That's what a baby does. They cry when they first born.
There was just no connection. Even when I look at Ace, I don't see me.
Now he think Mr. Haynes, my fiance, is the dad of Ace.
You thought it couldn't get wilder? Wrong. Mr. Mason tells the court Ms. Malone yanked his name off the birth certificate and put Mr. Haynes' name on instead. Ms. Malone says she did it because Mr. Mason wasn't acting like a dad. Ouch. This whole argument is like a soap opera with legal documents.
Because if that was the case, Your Honor, when I was in the hospital when she gave birth, she had put my name on the birth certificate. Removed my name off the birth certificate just to put Mr.
Reason
Haynes'
of that
name
being
on
is
the birth certificate.
She took your name off the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ace
same day after I left out of the hospital, after she had already put my name on the birth.
Your Honor.
Grab some tissues because Ms. Malone goes full emotional here. She cries as she talks about how Mr. Mason keeps dragging up their messy past and ignoring Ace. She's like, dude, I admitted my mistakes. Why can't you just focus on being a dad? The judge tries to keep things moving, but you can feel the tension in the room.
And why does it upset you so much?
He's still dwelling on the past. I know what I did. I confessed up to that. I owned up to it. And he's still the past in. He just needs to own up, be a father to Ace, be in his life.
She has not lately gave me the chance at
Hold
all.
on, Chance. He never
She's
picked up
never
Ace when
gave me the chance.
whenever he came
Whenever
over.
he came and
Whenever he
visit.
came.
Oh boy, now we're on to the cheating part of the story, and it's a doozy. Ms. Malone accuses Mr. Mason of stepping out on her with another woman while she was pregnant. He denies it, saying she's got it all wrong, and he was just talking to a friend, because yeah, that always ends well. The judge points out that neither of them seems to trust the other, which is like the understatement of the century.
Me and Miss Malone, we had went our separate ways.
You did?
And yes,
Your Honor, because when we back,
and when
he
we went
cheated.
our separate ways,
After agreed that we was not going to dwell on the past, he still did it anyway. I'm
I
starting
didn't necessarily
to.
cheat.
What was it?
I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat at all.
He left for another woman.
I didn't leave her at all.
And here comes the science guy. The judge calls Dr. Baird, a DNA expert, to explain how prenatal testing works, because apparently Mr. Mason needs a biology lesson. Dr. Baird breaks it down super simply. They take a blood sample from the mom, find baby DNA in it, and compare it to the dad's DNA. Mr. Mason's whole "the test is fake" argument crumbles in about 10 seconds.
How a prenatal test is performed.
The non-invasive prenatal paternity test is performed using a blood sample from the pregnant mother. In her blood sample, there is DNA from fetus that she carried. We then take a look at the DNA from the fetal sample present to an alleged father, see whether or not he is or is not the biological father of that.
Okay, here we go, the moment we've all been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Mason, you are the father. Again.
Your Honor, my sister passed away, and instead of this man right here taking care of me, he started a fight and left. He wasn't there. The other man is the one who was texting my phone saying, "Are you okay?"
Why was you texting your phone? How you have your phone number?
Why weren't you taking care of me?
We was arguing all the time through that time.
Exactly.
I traveled to Los Angeles back in '81, and I ran into a relative. This individual told me that their relative had my son. I got the information and I called Mrs. Lewis. Do we need to talk about something? And she said, no. I said, what about your son? What's going on there? Our ex-wife? She said his dad is dead.
Oh boy, this case starts off wild and only gets messier. Judge Lake introduces the case, where Mr. Scales claims Ms. Williams, the girl he's called his daughter her whole life, might not even be his because her mom cheated on him. And just like that, the courtroom is ready to explode with drama.
Ms. Williams, 5 years ago, the defendant, who you believed was your father, revealed a shocking family secret, that your mother cheated, and you are not his daughter. You and your sister are in court to prove him wrong.
Things get super awkward when Mr. Scales spills his story about the night he says Ms. Williams' mom cheated on him. He remembers waking up at 2 a.m. during an away game in 1983 and realizing she wasn't in their hotel room. It's already messy, but now everyone's waiting to see how this story unravels.
In 1983, we had an away game in Pensacola, and I took Miss Williams with me. We checked into a hotel. I went to bed early because I worked that day, and it was a Friday. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, and Miss Williams is no longer in the room. I can't say exactly how long, but I know it was at least an hour or two.
Now, Ms. Williams drops a bomb of her own when she talks about how she didn't find out her dad doubted her until she was 27. Imagine going through your whole life thinking you know who your dad is, and then boom, plot twist. Everyone's leaning in, waiting for her dad's big excuse.
I was 27 at the time. When I spoke with my mom, she had the fact that he was questioning paternity of me. He told me that there were some events that he didn't really feel the need to discuss with me at the time, that it was a discussion that she wasn't supposed to share with me. I spoke with my mom about it later, and she gave me more details, what actually had occurred.
Mr. Scales says he kept the paternity doubts to himself to give Ms. Williams a gift, a childhood without confusion. Honestly, that sounds like the weirdest gift ever. The audience is clearly ready for Ms. Williams to fire back.
Didn't say anything is because I wanted to give this child a gift and question who her father was.
Well, that wasn't fair for me to have to question that at 27 years old.
I'm your parent, I'm not your friend, and I have responsibilities and duty. I wanted to tell you at 27 because it's important for medical reasons, for moral reasons.
And here's where things get bananas. Ms. Williams shows her birth certificate and Mr. Scales' name is right there. But guess what? He straight up says, that's not my signature. The crowd is buzzing now and everyone's ready to see where this goes next.
I've never signed your birth certificate, Elisa.
You're listed as father.
I could be listed as father, but I never signed it.
I could be this child's father, but I might not be.
That's correct.
Everything in me feels like I'm his daughter. I feel that I look like him.
How was it
Mission
presented to you
accomplished.
specifically?
Really?
Judge Lake tries to calm the chaos and explain why it's hard to know the right time to drop news like this. But seriously, 27 years feels like way too late to bring it up. Just as the tension dies down, we hear more about Mr. Scales' real reasons.
Be clear, I completely and wholeheartedly empathize and understand both of you are saying. I cannot fathom being 27 years old, and the 20s are hard, girl. Just a tough time for young women.
And that's the time that he chose to bring it up.
And get this, Mr. Scales admits he never told Ms. Williams' mom he doubted her paternity because he didn't want to start drama. Yeah, sure, keeping secrets always works, right? Judge decides it's time to bring the mom into this mess.
I wasn't clear because I didn't want to cause any commotion or dissension. I wanted everything to go as if it was normal.
I was born at this time. It was never normal. There was always some tension about something.
Okay, the mom shows up and immediately starts throwing shade, calling Mr. Scales a liar. Then she admits, oh yeah, there was an affair, but it happened after the night he's talking about. This feels like a soap opera, but we're all waiting for the next bombshell about Ms. Williams' sister, Tonga.
It's no reason at all, Your Honor. If he was gonna doubt a child, he should doubt Tonja. I had the affair with the person in question when I met
I
the
rest
person
my case, Your Honor.
in question. I didn't even have any kids from him.
This night in question, you did leave the room.
I did leave.
And you did have an affair.
I didn't have relations.
Plot twist. Ms. Williams' mom confirms Mr. Scales isn't listed on Tonga's birth certificate, which raises even more eyebrows. By now, everyone's questioning everything, and the suspense is building for the DNA test.
You didn't sign my birth certificate, or is that why
He never signed the birth certificate. I did put him on a list.
He listed on Tonja's birth
No,
certificate.
he's not.
He is not. Mr. Scales is not listed as father on her birth certificate.
Why not?
Now, she was born first.
It's go time, folks. The DNA test comes back. And guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Scales, you are her father.
Mission accomplished.
Imagine your partner just saying, nah, that kid isn't mine. Ms. England says Mr. Kaiser is denying their baby Isaac, even though he's fine claiming the older kid. Mr. Kaiser says she was with another guy during their breakup, so he's sure that dude is the dad. This is like a soap opera, but messier.
You say that you and Mr. Kaiser have been together for 6 years, have a 3-year-old son together, but claim he's now denying your 6-month-old son Isaac, and you're here to prove that he is the father. Mr. Kaiser, you acknowledge one child with Ms. England, but say Isaac is not yours. She slept with another man, and you are 100% sure he is the father.
Ms. England admits she moved in with another guy after she and Mr. Kaiser broke up, but Isaac was conceived when they toured and they tried to get back together. Both agree things were falling apart, but this drama is only getting started.
She knows why I denied the baby. She stayed gone for 3 months with this other man.
Did you move in with another man?
Yes, Your Honor, I did. We were in a relationship for 4.5 years before we finally split, and I went with the other man. Yes.
And then during the split,
Isaac was conceived.
And so basically your relationship is completely on the brink. Like the stakes are high.
If it doesn't get solved today, it's over.
Things go off the rails. Mr. Kaiser says she snuck around with another guy. She blames his lack of support, especially after her sister passed away. It's just yelling and accusations. And yes, it gets even louder from here.
Your Honor, my sister passed away. And instead of this man right here taking care of me, he started a fight and left. He wasn't there. The other man is the one who was texting my phone saying, are you okay?
Why was he texting your phone? How you have your phone number?
Why weren't you taking care of me?
We was arguing all the time through that time.
Exactly.
So there obviously was a breakdown in the relationship.
Right.
Yes.
They pull out a calendar. Ms. England says she was only with Mr. Kaiser during the conception window. She gives exact dates, but Mr. Kaiser's not buying it. Spoiler alert, this doesn't clear anything up. Science class is about to begin.
Your Honor, on the 25th of March is the last time I had been sexual with the other man. On the 28th, me and Mr. Kaiser, we got back together. We had unprotected sex on the 28th, the 29th, 30th, the 31st, and the 1st, and my conception date is the 30th of March. I had sex with the other man before the conception window.
Now it's about tongue ties and babies born with teeth. Ms. England says those traits run in Mr. Kaiser's family, but he's like, teeth? Really? But wait, here comes a doctor to sort this all out.
That baby's also tongue-tied, genetic trait. That baby looks like our 3-year-old child.
And you're referring to a medical condition?
Yes, ma'am.
She don't know if that guy's father.
That's not
is
true,
tongue-tied.
because
What if the other guy didn't have it, but his daddy had it? You see what I'm telling you, Arthur?
His daddy did not have it.
How does she know that, you Arthur? She never met the other guy's father.
Dr. McLaurin says tongue ties and natal teeth could be genetic, but it's not 100% guaranteed. Basically, this whole tooth argument is still up in the air. But forget the teeth. It's DNA test time, and things are about to get real.
There is no research that says 100% that if he has a tongue tie, his child will have a tongue tie.
And the research I read said 50-50 chance.
Is there research that says otherwise as well?
Yes. It's not necessarily that it says otherwise, it just, the complexity comes in diagnosing a tongue tie.
Here comes the bombshell, and wow, it's a tough one. The DNA results come back, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kaiser, you are not the father.
Are you sure?
All right, folks, this is where it all starts. Drama Central. The court introduces the case of Miles versus Turner. Mr. Miles, after 37 whole years, claims Christine is his daughter. Christine's like, nah, not buying it. My mom says you're not the guy. Oh, this is gonna get messy real fast.
Mr. Miles, you are in court today to prove to your 37-year-old daughter, Christine, that you are her father. You admit you initially denied paternity when she was a baby, but are here to right your wrongs. But she now wants to prove you are not her biological father.
Christine doesn't hold back. She asks Mr. Miles why he's showing up now after being MIA her whole life and reminds him her mom always said he wasn't her dad. Mr. Miles, looking cornered, says her mom was inconsistent about it. It's a messy blame game.
I don't believe you're my father. My mom says you are not my father. You've been absent for 37 years. Why? Why now?
Your mom said that I was your father. And why now? I had the opportunity to be able to look for you because I wanted to see who you are and who your family was.
It took you 37 years to do that?
All of this started, I was young and I was stupid.
Mr. Miles shares his backstory. He found out about Christine when the court told him he was a dad. He admits he initially denied she was his, but now wants to make it right. Christine looks unimpressed, thinking it's way too late for that.
A few months later, I'm in court. I didn't even know she was pregnant. I didn't even know she had a baby until I got summons to go to court. Are you the father? And at that time, your mom was not just sleeping with me, she was with other guys. They asked your mom, and she said, yeah, he's the father. In about 15 minutes of a court session, I was named the father. At the time, I didn't believe it.
Christine opens up about her tough childhood without a dad, trouble at school, foster care, everything. She's strong now, but asks Mr. Miles why he's here. His answer isn't very convincing.
I was really bad as a student. I got in a lot of trouble. I went to foster care 4 years. I went through lots of therapy to forget all this, and I'm back today.
But you're strong, and you're not alone, because we're here with you.
Thank you.
Plot twist. Mr. Miles says he found out later he owed a lot in child support. Christine remembers her mom getting those checks and being confused since she didn't raise her. The drama just keeps escalating.
In 1992, we filed our taxes. Taxes came back, and there's a letter. You owe like $28,000 in back child support. And that just shocked me. Like I said, I just didn't have a clue that was even there.
And you didn't try to find out then?
Back then, there was no internet, no cell phones. All you had was people that you knew and telephone lines.
They met when Christine was 16. Mr. Miles even offered her a place, but after that, she heard nothing from him again. He claims it was due to money issues, but Christine isn't buying it.
Well, I met Mr. Miles one time when I was 16. He came to my grandparents' house. My grandparents actually let me go stay the night with him and his wife. I was never told about them until that very day, to how I was going to feel.
I thought we did, hit it off pretty good. And I think I asked her if she wanted to come live with us if possible.
We were willing to take her in as ours.
Absolutely.
Christine's mom admits she was seeing someone else when Christine was conceived and insists Mr. Miles isn't the dad. Christine is stunned, while Mr. Miles still believes he could be. It's chaotic, and Christine wants answers.
I met Rick at a bar and our relationship was not too serious and short term. Shortly after Rick and I split, I started seeing another man and I became pregnant soon after. Time I conceived Christine. She had to be conceived around May 1979. I wasn't with Rick.
All right, the moment of truth is here and it's intense. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Jamal, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
All right, buckle up, because this story is about to get completely bananas. Judge introduces the case of Lewis versus McAllister. Mr. Lewis says he's sure Mr. McAllister is his dad, and they're here to finally solve a 44-year-old mystery. What happens next? Oh, it's wild.
Mr. Lewis, you say you've always known the defendant is your father and say his paternity denials are mere excuses as to why he was not there for you. You hope today's results put an end to this 44-year-old mystery.
Seriously, this story is already giving soap opera vibes. Mr. McAllister says he's got his doubts because he's heard so many different stories about who the dad is, and he really wants to know the truth today. Next up, let's dig into the backstory of these two.
Mr. McAllister, you claim that years of doubt have given you reason to believe that you are not father, but you may know who is. You are ready to prove your case today.
Imagine being told who your dad is after years of not knowing. Yeah, it's that kind of emotional roller coaster. Mr. Lewis explains how his mom gave him a picture of Mr. McAllister and told him he was his father, but this only happened way later in life. And trust me, Mr. McAllister's side of things is even more of a head scratcher.
Well, my mom, it was because the type of woman she was, she didn't want to allow the turmoil from that, a fear, interfere with my life. But as a woman,
what
we
did
had
she
to
say
move on.
specifically?
She let me know who he was as a father. She had a picture of him, you know.
So was this some defining moment in your life when your mother said to you, I want to tell you who your father was, or was this always just...
No, it was clear, yeah, when I found out, yeah.
Okay, now this is where things get really messy. Mr. McAllister says he heard all kinds of stories, like 4 different versions, about who the dad was, including one where the guy was dead. Spoiler, the drama is just warming up.
I traveled to Los Angeles back in '81, and I ran into a relative. This individual told me that their relative had my son. I got the information and I called Mrs. Lewis. Do we need to talk about something? And she said, no. I said, what about your son? What's going on there? Our XY? She said, his dad is dead.
This part sounds like a game of telephone gone wrong. Mr. McAllister shares how he heard rumors that the father might be his cousin Michael, or some random guy, or someone else entirely. It's basically a paternity whodunit. But hang on, here's the kicker. Mr. Lewis's middle name is Michael. Yep.
I also heard that it could have been my first cousin, Michael. And unfortunately, a family member told me there was someone from the location, the city that I stayed in. I also heard from the mom that he died. So those are 4 different versions. So as I said, before I leave here, I just felt just important that I know for sure.
The middle name twist is just chef's kiss level drama. Judge Lake points out how Mr. Lewis's middle name matches Mr. McAllister's cousin's name, adding another layer to this chaotic puzzle. Trust me, the next part will have you questioning everything.
I see that Mr. Lewis's full name is Jermaine Michael Lewis.
I never even looked at that like that.
And Michael is your cousin's first name.
That is correct.
Have you ever heard anything about Mr. McAllister's cousin or your mother potentially having a relationship with him?
Never.
Growing up in South Central LA is already a tough gig, but this story takes it to another level. Mr. Lewis shares how he leaned on football to avoid gangs, thanks to his mom's protection. But wait, what's next? Let's talk about why his mom may have told him his dad was dead.
What was life like?
Tough, you know. I mean, growing up, I gravitated to football because there were opportunities to get into gangs being in South Central Los Angeles. My mother, she protected me because when she told him, and I'm not sure if she did say that, but I can see my mother, if she did say he was dead, it was to protect me because we had already moved.
Mr. McAllister suddenly popping back into Mr. Lewis's life is the definition of awkward timing. He says he tried to reconnect when Mr. Lewis was 16, even though he wasn't sure he was the dad. Mr. Lewis's reaction? Oh, it's a mix of, okay, and seriously, dude?
When I finally found out about that there was a possibility here, I reached out to him and I told him I was gonna be coming to Los Angeles and I would like to meet him. Me and my ex-wife was going on vacation. And
How old was Jermaine then?
He was 16 at the time. And we met and everything. And, you know, I just wanted to get to know him. I wanted him to get to know me.
The timing of Mr. McAllister's reappearance is, let's say, super convenient. Mr. Lewis was doing great in football and had scholarships lined up. So he felt like Mr. McAllister only showed up because of his success. The next bit dives into what it was like when Mr. McAllister tried to patch things up.
It was bittersweet because I totally felt that he came around because things in my life were good. You know, me playing football, I had some scholarship offers. So that's why things to me kind of seem fishy. Like all of a sudden, now that you see you have a son and he's doing well, now you're picking up the phone. Because like I say, where we're from, tough for us not to know because it's such a small community.
If you thought things couldn't get more awkward, think again. Mr. McAllister's daughter, Domenica, steps in to say she believes Mr. Lewis is her brother and recalls how her dad introduced him as family when she was little. What happens next? Oh, just more head-scratching decisions by Mr. McAllister.
I was very young. Mr. Lewis was in town visiting, and I remember my father telling me that it was a cousin that was visiting initially. Later, after Mr. Lewis left and went back to LA, my father sat me down and told me that that was my brother, and he wanted to know how I felt about having an older brother.
Years of rumors, confusion, and doubts are about to come to an end. Finally, Judge Lake sums up the mess of conflicting stories that have plagued this case for 44 years. Next up, the DNA results, and trust me, they're worth the wait.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. McAllister, you are the father.
Wow, right off the bat, you know this is going to be a wild ride. The case of Walker versus DeVost kicks off with Mr. Walker claiming he's the dad of baby Kaimani. Ms. DeVost, though, casually drops the bomb that he's not. Oh, and she also admits she let him believe this for a whole year. Buckle up, because this mess is just getting started, and the drama is about to go full speed.
Mr. Walker, you claim the defendant led you to believe you fathered her son, Kamani, for an entire year, but just 6 months ago told you you are not father and refuses to let you see him. You are here to prove that Kamani is your biological son.
Mr. Walker and Ms. DeVost met in foster care and got close, but weren't officially dating. She told him he was the dad, but there was another guy, and just like that, chaos begins.
We met when we was in foster care. We was like this group home setting for older youth to live on their own independently. We met there, we became friends, and then I came back. Somehow we got back in contact. I was like over his house every day. It was like a getaway. We wasn't in a relationship, but it was a situation like we was together.
Ms. DeVost admits to being with someone else when Kaimani was conceived. Mr. Walker had no idea, even though he was working 2 jobs to prepare for the baby. The mess just keeps piling up.
When I find out that she's pregnant, I really just start to prepare myself mentally, and I also was just looking for work. I had 2 jobs at the time. I was just really trying to just prepare myself for everything. So I know what it means to have a child. I didn't really have a dad growing up, and I grew up in the system, and I don't know. I like babies.
Mr. Walker thought he was starting a family, signing the birth certificate, and giving his all. Ms. DeVost, meanwhile, kept her doubts because she feared being alone, and what she admits next, even more shocking.
I actually have the birth certificate that I signed when he was first born.
I'd like to see that. And so you were there.
Yes,
she told you it was your child, and you lived up to what you were supposed to do. This is the birth certificate for Kamani Dominique DeVost Walker. He has your last name, and you are listed as father, willingly and voluntarily.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. DeVost admits she felt bad for lying, but let Mr. Walker stay because he was doing all the right things. The judge is unimpressed, giving her a side eye, and somehow it gets even wilder.
I didn't want to hurt him. Like, I already felt like I regret telling him, letting him go through with it, because when I looked at my son, after I got through my surgery and everything, I thought he seen my son before I did. Can't turn back now, not to tell him that he's not the father. He been there the whole pregnancy, he was there, so I'm like, it's too late, it felt.
Mr. Walker shows text where Ms. DeVost tells him he's not the dad, even saying, you ruined your own life. The judge calls her out, and then things get even messier when the other guy is mentioned.
So it says, you say you kicked me out with damn near no place to go. You wasn't thinking about our son or anything. He's not your son. So as long as I'm on the birth certificate, I'm not going anywhere. You ruined my whole life. You're not his father. You ruined your own life. You cold-blooded.
Ms. DeVost says the baby looks like the other guy, who sometimes FaceTimes but isn't around. Mr. Walker sits there crushed, and the DNA results are coming up next. Buckle up for the final twist.
Did you ever do a paternity test with the other man?
No.
So how are you certain he's the child's biological father?
He looks just like him. They got family members that look identical too, so.
You still allowed Mr. Walker to believe for the first 8 months of Kamani's life he was the child's biological father?
Yes.
And here's the moment that leaves everyone's jaw on the floor.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Walker, you are not the father.
I'm sorry.
2 guys think they're the dad of the same baby. Judge Lake takes on the case of Murray versus Gerald Donaldson, with Mr. Murray and Mr. Donaldson both claiming to be 18-month-old Anaya's father. Ms. Harris admits she was with both guys. It's messy, and it's about to get even messier.
There are 2 men in court today claiming to have fathered your 18-month-old daughter, Anaya, your current boyfriend, the plaintiff, Mr. Murray, and the defendant, your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Donaldson. They are both in court today to prove paternity.
Ms. Harris says Mr. Donaldson dumped her after she got pregnant, telling her, actually, I like someone else. He even thought she faked the pregnancy to keep him around. Awkward enough already, but Mr. Donaldson's side of the story just makes it worse.
From my understanding, we was dating, but then when I got pregnant, he told me he had feelings for another girl. He told me that he didn't want to be with me, so I was basically alone during my pregnancy. He was there during the baby shower, and he came to the hospital with his mom when I had her.
You're in a relationship. You all are boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, we were.
Mr. Donaldson didn't believe her, so he brought over a pregnancy test like it was a science experiment. He didn't believe it until her belly grew, and he eventually showed up at the hospital. Just as he seems to be stepping up, his mom has her own version of events.
How long did this relationship last between you and Mr. Donaldson?
It was like a couple months. It wasn't that long.
At some point, he did accept that the baby was his?
He had to when he seen that my belly was big.
Because you saying at first he didn't even believe it, so then when your stomach started growing.
No, he brought me a pregnancy test.
So you brought her a pregnancy test and said, prove it.
Mr. Donaldson's mom, Ms. Gerald, didn't find out about the pregnancy until 5 months in. She accepted her son as the dad, but family whispers started saying the baby looked like Mr. Murray instead. And just as things heat up, Mr. Murray brings his own twist to the story.
I did not find out about it until she was about 5 months, maybe. When he told me about it, I accepted that he was. That's what Chastity stated, that he was the dad.
At what point, Mr. Donaldson, did you say, Mom, I have something I have to tell you?
I didn't even tell her, honestly. I told my father, and my father told her.
Mr. Murray found out he might be the dad because Mr. Donaldson randomly DM'd him on Facebook. Turns out Mr. Murray and Ms. Harris had a fling, and they can't agree on whether they used protection. It's a soap opera with more receipts and a messier timeline.
Why do you believe you could be the biological father of this child?
One day I was on Facebook and I got a message with Jalen. He told me that the baby could possibly be mine.
Telling you that the baby could possibly be yours?
Yeah, I need to get a DNA test.
You sent him that message, Mr. Donaldson?
I'm not gonna say yes, I'm not gonna say no. I don't recall.
Ms. Harris admits she was with both guys around the same time. She insists Mr. Murray used protection, but he disagrees. And then Mr. Murray casually mentions an unprotected threesome in December. Now the court has to sort out this web of dates to figure out the truth.
Because during that time, he used protection. And from the time that he's talking about he could be her father is from a time in December.
The time that you had sex without protection was in December.
Yes.
It wasn't during the window of conception.
No.
Date of conception was around February the 10th. Anaya was born on October 21st.
Yes.
Despite the chaos, Mr. Murray stepped up, being there for Anaya since she was 3 months old. Both sides argue the baby looks like their guy, but the resemblance game is far from over. DNA results are just around the corner, and no one's ready for what's next.
Who's in her life as father? Who does she bond with as a father?
Mr. Murray. She looks to him like he's her father because he's been there ever since she was 3 months.
At that point in time, she was in like a down position, so I just took her in. Like, I take care of both of y'all.
Both families insist she looks just like him, but with pictures of both guys shown in court, even the judge says they're guessing. The moment of truth is coming, and trust me, it's going to be a shocker.
You believe Anaya looks like your grandchild, like your son's baby. And that's a picture of Mr. Murray on the left and Anaya on the right. Why are you smiling like that, Mr. Donaldson?
Because that's a real, they do look alike. Like that. You can't even lie. They look alike.
Was a baby picture of Mr. Donaldson.
Okay, here it is. Time to finally get some answers, right? Wrong.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Murray, you are not the father. Miss Harris? When I said you go across that aisle and hug your daughter, the first thing you did was look at your wife for permission. I didn't miss that.
Amen by that. Amen.
And I want to make sure we're clear if no one's let you know. You don't need permission to love your child.
Amen.
So I didn't want my son to grow up and not know who his father is. Yes, I admit to my wrong. I was wrong for messing with two guys at the same time. But I'm here today to try to prove to him that that is his son. You know what I'm saying? And it hurt me because my son asks about him every day.
This is already sounding like it's going to be a crazy ride. The court session starts, and Judge Lake jumps right into it, addressing everyone. Things are just getting warmed up, and you won't believe what comes next.
Ms. Jackson, you've dragged your ex-boyfriend to court to prove he fathered your 26-year-old daughter, Tanika. You claim he's denied her since birth because you were caught in a love triangle with him and his wife.
It's about to get real messy. Ms. Jackson says Mr. Brown owes her a whopping $2,624 in child support. Sparks are already flying, and this is just the start. start. Stay tuned for more shouting.
1 week ago, you reopened your child support case in which you state Mr. Brown owes you $20,624.08.
That's yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you and your wife claim you can't be the father because you were on the road for 3 months during the time of conception.
That's true, Your Honor.
You've basically taken care of your daughter alone.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Ms. Jackson says she met Mr. Brown at a club where he told her Drusilla was just a friend. Later that night, they end up at an apartment. And who barges in? You guessed it, Drusilla. Ms. Jackson had no clue this was going to be drama central, and you'll never believe what's coming up.
I met him at the club, and we started talking, we started dancing. He told me he'll be back. When he left with his wife, Miss Brown, I asked him who she was. He told me if she was just a friend. So he came back to the club, and then we went to the apartment. We was in the back of the room. She came in the door. She said, come on out, let me talk to you. I didn't know that he was dating her because he told me they had broke up.
Drusilla is not letting this go. She catches Mr. Brown and Ms. Jackson together again, this time in a club bathroom. Drusilla let Ms. Jackson go, kept her eyes on her man, and just when you think it can't get any crazier, it totally does.
He wasn't in the club. I said, well, one place he could be because his car was still outside. So I knocked and knocked on the door of the bathroom. I said, Dwight, I know you're in there. I said, open this door. He cracked it a little bit. So when I pushed it open, she in there, done him in the bathroom. But I told her, I said, you can go.
So you find him in the club in the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this part is like something out of a sitcom. Drusilla comes home and hears noises coming from her closet. You can just feel Drusilla's frustration as she realizes Mr. Brown is still fooling around. And if you thought this was wild, there's a lot more coming.
When I got to my apartment, I unlocked the door with the key. So at that point, I heard my closet door slide open. When I got inside, I went right to the closet, opened the door. She standing up there naked, had my man in my house. So even, he kept fooling around with her, like you say, going back and forth. So
you knew that he kept an affair going with her?
Yeah, off and on, yes.
Mr. Brown finally admits he's been with both women at the same time, unprotected, but he's also throwing shade, saying he saw Ms. Jackson with another man, so he doubts he's the dad. This love triangle is a total mess, and it just keeps getting messier as they go deeper into the story.
Were you sleeping with both of them without protection?
Yes.
So why do you deny that Tanika is your daughter if you know you've been with this woman over a span of time?
I've seen too many things happen. Like one morning, I thought she was at work. Come to find out, she was out with another man.
Things are getting juicy. Ms. Jackson presents a birth certificate saying Mr. Brown is Nika's dad, and Drusilla and Mr. Brown are not having it. This isn't just a paternity case. It's turning into a full-blown mystery, and everyone's hanging on to see what'll pop up next.
I have proof that Mr. Brown signed my birth certificate.
I'd like to see that.
That's a birth certificate that's a fake, Your Honor. That is a fraud. Her mama been lying to her.
So wait, on this birth certificate, it does say Dwight Stanley Brown.
He named me and he spelled the name.
He was with me during the time that birth certificate.
Now, I do not see a signature on this birth certificate,
because he did not sign it.
Drusilla is spilling more tea. She says she tried for years to get Ms. Jackson to agree to a DNA test, but Ms. Jackson always dodged it. It's a total blame game, and Drusilla's got receipts, so you know it's about to get even spicier.
She's like, let me keep calling me. That's an insult about DNA testing. Every time we ask for something. Same thing in 1992. Okay, then we went to Ms. Jackson again. Went up to the lab again to get a DNA testing. I paid my money. My husband didn't pay child support. I did. I took care of her.
That's true.
This story is so
dramatic.
Judge Lake points out the irony in Drusilla's complaints, saying, it's the same lady in your closet. Drusilla tries to act like the problem is solved, but Judge Lake reminds her they're here to see if Mr. Brown is really Tanika's dad. Hold on tight because the moment of truth is about to drop.
It's the same lady that's in your closet, same lady that's behind the bathroom door.
Yeah.
It's the same lady. But that doesn't mean that Tanika is not your husband's biological
That's all I ever wanted to know, Your Honor. Well, that's his daughter.
That's why we're here.
Yes, ma'am.
Round the envelope, please.
Yes, ma'am.
This is it, the big reveal. Judge Lake opens the DNA results, and yes, Mr. Brown is confirmed to be Tanika's dad. Emotions are flying everywhere, but don't leave yet. There's still one more twist.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are her father.
Jesus.
This last bit is unbelievable. Judge Lake asks Mr. Brown to hug his daughter, and he actually looks over at his wife to check if it's okay first. With that, the courtroom wraps up, but Judge Lake leaves everyone with some wise words on family, forgiveness, and facing the truth.
When I said you go across that aisle and hug your daughter, the first thing you did was look at your wife for permission. I didn't miss that.
Amen about that. Amen
And I
about
want
that.
to make sure we're clear if no one's let you know. You don't need permission to love your child.
Amen. That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Folds. Things get wild right from the start. Miss Jackson tells everyone she's here to confront her husband's mistress and prove this baby isn't his. You can already feel the tension. And we're only getting started. If you thought this story couldn't get more awkward, wait until you hear how Mr. Jackson introduced his wife. Miss Jackson claps back, pointing out there's a big difference between wife and BM. And oh, this back and forth is just the beginning of the name calling.
But she was always labeled as.
He shows up, and things get even weirder when he admits he didn't tell Miss Lipscomb he was married. The crowd cheers, but you just know there's more awkwardness on the way.
Ms. Lipscomb says she had no idea you had a wife.
No, she didn't, because I never mentioned it to her, Your Honor.
So that part of her statement is true.
Surprising us, she says she spent nearly $900 on stuff for the baby, even though she doubts the baby is her husband's. This kindness is something, but don't worry, things are still a total mess.
Not only have we had conversations, before I didn't deny the child, I went and bought over $900 and some worth of stuff for her baby.
Judge Lake asks Miss Lipscomb if the affair stopped once Mr. Jackson went to jail, and she flat out admits it didn't. The audience gasps as she confesses they were still friendly, and you can practically feel everyone waiting to see what's going to come out. Surprising evidence hinting there might be another possible father. Judge Lake digs in, ready to uncover more about.
He didn't cut the cord, but he was there. So he did come for the birth. Yes.
Here's where things go from bad to worse. Mr. Jackson admits he signed the birth certificate, making the baby his legal child. Judge Lake can't believe what she's hearing, and you can tell she's about to dive deeper into this messy situation.
Mr. Jackson, did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes.
Why would he sign the birth certificate? Even more to speak on her behalf. Mr. Jackson, you've acknowledged paternity.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's why the baby was placed on my benefit.
Things are cooling down. Miss Jackson drops a big surprise. She's pregnant. Now, the room is buzzing, and everyone's looking at Miss Lipscomb, wondering how she'll respond to this news. Judge Lake isn't impressed with Mr. Jackson's non-committal attitude and wants some answers. Judge Lake is so over his wishy-washy replies. The big moment is here. The paternity results are revealed, and jaws drop.
Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Thank you. It's still over.
Things are getting wild right out of the gate here, folks. Judge Lake kicks things off with the case of McKeever versus Arnold, where Ms. McKeever is trying to prove Mr. Arnold is the father of her kid and wants him to pay up for childcare. And just wait, because this family feud is only getting started.
Ms. McKeever, you say you have no doubt that Mr. Arnold is your 3-year-old son Kenneth's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've requested a paternity test and are suing Mr. Arnold for $1,796 in child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't believe Mr. Arnold's confidence as he stands there, saying he shouldn't pay anything for this kid. He really thinks he can skip out on this because he just didn't show up? Oh, this is only getting crazier by the minute.
Mr. Arnold, you and your aunt, Ms. Henderson, say that Ms. McKeever admitted to sleeping with 2 other men, but now you claim you're the one who's been put on child support for a boy who's definitely not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Lake isn't having any of it and hits Mr. Arnold with some serious reality. But don't look away, because things are about to get even messier.
You've been required to pay child support?
Yes, Your Honor.
You know that's a dangerous game, right?
It's not my child, so why should I pay anything? I got put on child support because of not showing up to a DNA test.
Oh, you were named. This happens in this courtroom way too much. Young men in your position, you come to court and Your Honor, this is not my child, Your Honor. And then when I ask, did you have an opportunity to take a DNA test?
And here's a plot twist. Ms. McKeever's sister, Ms. Cox, steps up and says she's been paying for all kinds of things for the kid because Mr. Arnold hasn't paid a dime. She's ready to spill some tea, and it's only adding fuel to the family drama.
And you've been helping out.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Paying for expenses.
Haircuts, shoes, clothes, milk, anything that little boy needs. If she calls me, he have it, you know.
With the understanding that she's responsible for paying you back this month.
And that is, yes.
Get ready for a bombshell. Mr. Arnold's aunt, Ms. Henderson, says there's a mystery guy that might be the real father, not her nephew. This whole maybe another dad twist really shakes things up, but the tea is still brewing.
Everything is not being said. There was another young man involved who was supposed to be these kids' dad. 2 years, now all of a sudden, my nephew is being blamed for these kids. Because if they was, why would you name another man saying that they was the dad?
Who is this young man? Do you know? know?
I don't know him personally.
Who is
No,
this
I
other
don't.
young man, Ms. McKeever?
The other young man that I was with, he ended up going away.
Ms. McKeever dives into the timeline of her romantic encounters, and let's just say it's complicated. Judge Lake looks like she's about to need a flow chart to keep up with this one.
Pretty much you were with Mr. Arnold, having sex with him unprotected the whole month of December. But when you got pregnant, your doctor told you that the window of conception was about 24th of December to the 31st.
Yes.
You say you were intimate with the other guy
December 26th.
December 26th.
And now for a plot twist straight out of a soap opera. Ms. McKeever reveals that she already did a DNA test with this other guy, and it came back negative, so he's not the dad. No DNA evidence? This drama isn't done just yet.
The other guy that I was intimate with, he decided to get the DNA test. It was not my decision, it was his. I had a DNA test done, and the DNA test came back. It said 0%. So what I did was...
Do you have any evidence of that test?
No, I don't have the evidence with me.
And she wouldn't let us get a copy, and she wouldn't let us take a picture of it so we could have some evidence.
Things get real emotional as Ms. McKeever explains her past, revealing she grew up without a father and doesn't want that for her son. She's pouring her heart out, and Judge Lake listens carefully, ready to bring everyone back to the main point.
I had no father at all. So I didn't want my son to grow up and not know who his father is. So it hurt me a lot for his family to sit up here and try to make me out as a bad person. Yes, I admit to my wrong. I was wrong for messing with two guys at the same time. But I'm here today to try to prove to him that that is his son. You know what I'm saying? And it hurt me because my son asks about him every day.
Judge Lake delivers a serious pep talk to Mr. Arnold, telling him he needs to take responsibility and make his own choices. The clock is ticking, and it's clear Mr. Arnold needs to get it together before it's too late.
So now you're here. Even if it's determined that you're not this child's biological father today, that does not change the legal issue you're faced with, is that you have been named this child's father by default for failure to show up. And then go from there, and there's no guarantee. Do you understand this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Here we go, the big moment everyone's been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Arnold, you are his father.
Step up, baby. Just step up.
Okay, this case is about to get messy. The courtroom kicks off with the case of Tisby versus Quarterman, where Ms. Tisby believes Mr. Quarterman is the father of her daughter, Jordan, and has been dodging a DNA test. You can already tell this one's going to be full of wild twists and turns.
Ms. Tisby, you were in love with the defendant and claim he has been ducking your request for a DNA test for your daughter, Jordan. You and your mother say he better step up and be a daddy when today's results prove what you've always known, that he is Jordan's father.
Right off the bat, Mr. Quarterman throws some serious shade. He claims Ms. Tisby only shows up to ask for money and doesn't believe he's the dad. This is just the beginning, but you can already feel the room heating up.
Mr. Quarterman, you say the plaintiff is delusional and is only trying to use you for money, and when the results reveal you are not her child's biological father, you want her out of your life for good.
Correct.
So, Mr. Quarterman, you say she's using you for your money?
Anytime they come around, it's about money. Yes, ma'am.
Now it gets even more awkward. They can't even agree on what their relationship was. Ms. Tisby says they were together, and he even said, "I love you," while Mr. Quarterman claims it was just a casual fling. This whole "were we or weren't we" thing has everyone scratching their heads.
I felt like we was in a relationship because basically he was coming around the whole time. He even told me he loved me, so.
That sounds like a relationship. You
honestly,
love her, you come
I have
around
love
all
for her.
the time.
I have love for her, but not in love with her. She came about in a time in my life where, you know what I'm saying, I was kind of down and out, and me and her both was helping each other. The baby situation came about, you know, and I told her from the beginning since it was another guy.
And then, boom! Ms. Tisby's mom takes the stand and makes things way more dramatic. Just when you think it's all cleared up, a new twist jumps in.
So wait a minute, you'd pick him up and bring him over to your house?
I bring it to him. We stayed next door to each other. We had a two-stair house. She stayed on one side of the house, and I had my own house. But at night, he creeped at night, and sometimes I seen him sometimes in the daytime, but he basically was staying there at night.
Things get real emotional as Ms. Tisby talks about Jordan's birth and some truly heartbreaking stuff. Emotions are running high, and it's clear this story has layers on top of layers.
When Jordan was born, Mr. Quarterman was there or not there?
No, he wasn't. When I was pregnant, I told him everything. He came when I was pregnant, holding my stomach and everything, doing all that. But now she's not yours.
Tell me about the birth.
On the 16th of April, I had her. On the 17th, they told me to come in the hospital because my little girl passed away.
Just when you think you've heard it all, Mr. Quarterman pulls out the Facebook proof. The judge and everyone else can't believe they're looking at Facebook evidence in court. Who knows what's next?
But she had posted some things online, asking, I guess Facebook about am I the father or not.
What are you submitting to the court, sir?
I guess a Facebook post. She was asking Facebook, do I look like the child or, whatever the case.
It's a split screen of baby Jordan.
Yes, ma'am.
And you. And she writes, do she look like him, yeah or nah?
For us to be in a relationship and everything like that, that is a booking photo for when I got arrested.
Get ready for the they totally look alike argument as Ms. Tisby's mom brings out baby photos. The courtroom's buzzing, and everyone's waiting to see if this who looks like who thing will actually help.
What evidence did you bring, ma'am? Let me see.
2 baby pictures. And one thing about it, Your Honor, just let me speak. I understand what he trying to say, but if you lay with somebody, you got to pay the cost. Y'all laid together, y'all stayed together, y'all been together. You could deny what you want to deny, but like I said, now when this baby come out to be yours.
Now things go from heated to about to explode as everyone argues. It's getting wild in here, and all eyes are on Judge Lake to see what she'll say next.
And that's why your daughter just handed up this particular evidence. The first picture is a picture of Mr. Quarterman as a baby, and then the next picture is a picture of Jordan. You feel like they look exactly alike.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say even his family members say.
Yes, both his mother. Yep. His mother said it. You see that little girl there? That's a princess. She everything to me.
And here it is, the big moment. Judge Lake opens the DNA results and drops the bomb.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Quarterman, you are not the father.
What?
Huh.
Shantina.
All right, this story is wild from the jump. Mr. Clark is suing Ms. Bailey to get a DNA test to see if he's the dad of her baby, Vanique, and wants $1,560 for some clothes she allegedly torched. This courtroom is about to get messy, folks, and we're just getting started.
Mr. Clark, you were suing the defendant for a DNA test and for $1,560 for damages you claim she caused to your property because you deny paternity of her 2-month-old daughter, Vanique. You say today you will prove you are not Vanique's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yep, you read that right. Ms. Bailey straight up admits to burning his clothes. She says she was 7 months pregnant, mad as a hornet, and couldn't handle that he left her for someone else. So she decided his clothes needed to go up in flames. But this bonfire is just the start of the drama.
Ms. Bailey, you say you were on fire when Mr. Clark left you for another woman while pregnant with his child.
Yes, I was.
You are 100% certain he is your daughter's father. Additionally, you are countersuing Mr. Clark for $300 for half of Vanique's child care expenses over the last 2 months.
If you thought this was just a breakup, Mr. Clark's cancer diagnosis takes this story to a whole other level. They're hanging on to that maybe with all they got, but we all know there's more drama coming.
During this relationship, started growing up big, like it was a big tumor on the side of his neck. And so we went to the hospital, he found out he had cancer. He started his chemo sessions and everything, but before then...
And you all were together when this happened?
Yes. They said, are you guys interested in having children? And we both no. And they was like, well, there's an 80% chance that he can't have children during his chemo.
So you know I can't have kids.
But there's still that 20% that he can.
Mr. Clark's doubts just keep getting louder, thanks to both science and his new girlfriend whispering in his ear. Oh, the plot thickens, and he's definitely not done talking.
Your doubt stems from the fact that as you're undergoing chemotherapy, you've been informed by your doc that this would affect your ability, possibly.
Yes.
And that's why they suggested to you freeze some of your sperm, because they knew that there was a chance that this treatment could affect your chances of having children.
Yes, ma'am.
You proceeded with your treatment.
Here comes the science. They even brought in a doctor to clear things up, and things got even more confusing. Looks like the science talk didn't help, and now everyone's looking around like, what now?
It depends on the type of chemo, the dose, the age of the patient. However, if you ask for general statistics, it is about 77%.
How old were you at the time you were receiving the treatment, Mr. Clark?
I started receiving treatments at the age of 26.
Well, as you can see, Ms. Bailey is focused on that 20% chance.
Unfortunately, it only takes 1 sperm.
Ms. Bailey gets super emotional here, hoping Vanique can have a dad, especially since she grew up without one herself. It's a tear-jerker moment, but we all know Mr. Clark still got doubts, and it's about to get real again.
Brings you to tears when you see your baby?
Yes.
Why?
She just needs a father.
And you really want that for her?
Yes.
I want you to take me to the birth.
He was there. He cut the umbilical cord and everything.
Really? So you were
Now,
present
from
for the
there.
birth, Mr. Clark?
Yeah, I was there. She was too.
Really? Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I was gonna sign that birth certificate, and she gave the baby my grandma's name and my last name.
Now it's money time. Ms. Bailey pulls out receipts showing she spent $600 on diapers, wipes, and formula in just 2 months, and she wants Mr. Clark to pay up. But trust me, that's far from the last argument we're gonna hear.
You've submitted receipts to the court of the expenses you've incurred thus far.
Yes.
As it relates to baby Vanique. About $50 a week on diapers, formula, and wipe.
I bought her
totaling
car,
about
I bought her car
$600.
seat, everything she needed.
Everything you've paid for yourself. And Mr. Clark, you admittedly have not contributed anything.
No, ma'am.
And that's why your countersuit is for $300, half of $600.
Yes.
Yeah, Judge Lake doesn't mess around when it comes to burned clothes. He's got no problem telling Ms. Bailey she owes Mr. Clark $1,560 for turning his wardrobe into ashes. Ms. Bailey owes the money, but don't worry, the biggest shock is still on the way.
So, because you willfully destroyed his property, I have to award him the $1,560 from his clothing that you destroyed. Judgment for the plaintiff. Moving forward, I think we're ready for the results.
Burn no clothes no more.
You all done?
Yes.
A lot of unfinished business here. I hope you taking note, Miss Hudson. You quiet over there. Just poke, both of you, back and forth. You can't even get the result.
Here comes the moment we've all been waiting for. DNA results are in, and it's a jaw dropper.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Clark, you are not the father.
I wanted him to be the father. I wanted him to be there.
All right, folks, you won't believe what's about to go down in this courtroom. Judge Lake starts things off, introducing the case of Martin v. Pinner. Ms. Martin admits she made a big-time mistake around the time she got pregnant with her daughter, Royal Blue. Things are just heating up, and it's only the beginning.
Ms. Martin, you admit to making a huge mistake around the time you conceived your daughter, Royal Blue. You claim that one moment of weakness will cost you your fiancé if you cannot prove today that he fathered your child.
This relationship sounds like it's hanging by a thread. Ms. Martin shares that things are so bad that Mr. Pinner has moved out of the bedroom and now lives in the living room. The tension between these two is wild, and you can just tell there's more drama on the way.
Well, at this point, me and Romeo have no relationship because of the paternity of our daughter. I made one mistake back in the past that he knew about, and now he's claiming that he knows nothing about it.
The relationship is in turmoil.
Yes, he completely moved out of the bedroom. Like, he lives in my living room.
Oh, and here's where Mr. Pinner's side of the story kicks in. And trust me, it's not pretty. His trust issues are real, and this whole thing is starting to sound like a soap opera.
She says that she let me know right away, but it was a month later after she found out that she was pregnant. No, that's true. You know, when you feel like that, why would I fake it and just, be laying in the bed with somebody that's already lied to me, then I'd be dishonest to the relationship.
But you were laying in there before.
You were dishonest with me in the beginning, and you're dishonest with me now. The reason why I'm not sleeping in the bedroom is because I'm not sure if Royal is mine or not.
Now, Ms. Martin tries to explain her side, and it's, well, messy. Their stories do not match up, and the arguments are getting louder.
I'm going to tell her about the mistake. At the point in time, Romeo was doing him, as we say, partying, not coming home. I completely moved to Wisconsin with him. I even said, if I come up here for you, I'm about you, we're gonna do our family thing. And when I got up there, it went totally left. He left me in the home by myself. It'd be days at a time before I saw Romeo.
Just when you think you've got the story straight, Mr. Pinner drops his version of the truth, and it's totally different. These two can't agree on anything, and it's all going off the rails.
So it's your testimony, Mr. Pinner, that she didn't tell you the day after the party. She told you 1 month after she was already pregnant.
Exactly, Your Honor. She said, well, I have something to tell you. When I had that party, I woke up the next morning. I'm pretty sure I had sex, but I don't know who it is. Like I said, that's very irresponsible. To this day, I don't even know the person's name.
I didn't wait a month. I told you the next day. I was honest from the jump.
So, Ms. Martin?
Hold on, because now they're bringing up all their issues from way back. Mr. Pinner claims Ms. Martin changed after having their first child, started partying more. Judge Lake points out they've both been playing the blame game, and it's seriously messy. Like, how do these two even live together?
After she had our oldest daughter, she changed completely. I guess she felt like she missed something. She started to go out partying, kicking it. In clubs. We got a child. You leaving me here with the child. I work and go to work and try to take care of my family and provide.
You are turning this whole around.
I have made my
mistake.
Excuse me. I have had made my mistake. But at the same point in time, we were supposed to work with it.
Judge Lake isn't holding back here, giving some advice on why tit for tat never works out. The judge isn't sugarcoating anything, and you can feel the tension rising.
She moves to a different state, following behind you. When she gets there, you still out and about doing things. He out hanging out. He don't want to come home. I'll start partying. We hear this is too much. Now, thing I tell women all the time, we lose the tit for tat every time because you lose your senses and you do something stupid and you get pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
And here we go. Ms. Martin reveals she actually left Mr. Pinner during her pregnancy because things got so bad. Their arguments are all over the place, and it's hard to know who to believe at this point.
He participated for about 3 or 4 months.
That's not true, Your Honor.
He went to doctor's appointments with me, Your Honor,
yes, I did.
until I decided one morning I woke, because he didn't come home. I packed everything I owned in that house and I went home. And it took him 24 hours to even realize it took all I had to pack up my daughter, me being pregnant, and all my clothes to go home, to leave this man.
Judge Lake takes a second to talk to Ms. Martin, who's clearly feeling guilty, and it's kind of intense. She says she regrets her mistakes and just wants her family back. This moment gets pretty real, and it makes you wonder if there's any hope for them.
Like I said, Ms. Martin, we never win this game of tit for tat. And I can see how hurt you are, because I'm sure when you moved and followed him to Wisconsin, this is not what you had in your mind.
No, ma'am.
And to be honest with you, Mr. Pinner, I'm sure this is not why you asked her to come. This is not what you planned either.
No, it wasn't.
This is not what you all had in your mind. And I can see, Ms. Martin, you are not proud of what you did. This is not who you are.
Judge Lake asks the million-dollar question if Royal Blue is his daughter. Would Mr. Pinner actually stay? He says he would, but he needs to let go of the past. Judge Lake tells him he can't keep bringing up the party if they're going to move forward, or they'll be back in court soon. This is the moment of truth. They're about to find out if he's really Royal Blue's dad.
If Royal Blue is your biological daughter, can you unpack that bag?
Yes, that's exactly what I want to do.
I'm a straight shooter in here now. When you unpack that bag, you have to unpack it with an intention to let go of the baggage of the past.
Yes, sir.
Now, you just can't unpack the bag and then on a random Wednesday just decide you're gonna get mad again because she had that party.
I understand what you're saying, Your Honor.
Or we'll be back here again.
All right, here we go. The big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Pinner, you are the father.
Thank God.
My son was outside playing.
John.
He came. He was at the front gate. So he was like, Jalen, come here, Jalen, come here. So I'm like, who's calling my son? He gave my son $1. 5 minutes after talking to me and my son, he took it back. What? Exactly.
I'll be honest with you.
Scott.
I'll be honest with you. She got me confused with another dude because I never did that.
Oh
This is the only time.
Miss Scott, did you use protection?
No, it wasn't protected.
You all were only seeing one another?
Like, I was currently in a relationship when I met him originally.
So why would you do that?
He was my escape plan. He was my dummy, basically.
Things kick off with Ms. Scott McCrae suing her daughter for $3,900 in loans she says haven't been paid back. Wait, Ms. Scott has her own wild claims, saying her mom is jealous and wants her man.
Miss Scott McCrae, you claim that you've been supporting your daughter, Miss Scott, and her 7 children long enough.
Yes.
You say that your daughter's husband is a deadbeat, and you wish she'd leave this man and get off the system. Miss Scott McCrae, you are suing your daughter for $3,900 unpaid loan.
Ms. Scott McCrae comes in swinging, calling her daughter's husband a deadbeat who can't hold a job. Ms. Scott isn't having it though, snapping back that her man has a job and that her mom just wishes she had a man like him. Let's just say the room gets loud and awkward real fast.
I don't want to break up my daughter and her husband, but my daughter needs a wake-up call. She's very intelligent. He's a deadbeat. He's not a good provider. He hinders his family more so, I think, than he can help. Can't keep a job for more than a week or two.
He has a job.
When did
just
he
got
get
a
it?
job.
Last week?
It doesn't matter
And
when
how long
he
is
got
he
it.
going to
He's
keep
working.
it? 2 weeks? How long is he going to keep it?
Just let it be known, Mom.
And now we're fighting about cereal. Yep, cereal. The mom says her son-in-law ate all the cereal and drank all the milk, leaving nothing for the kids. The husband denies it. But at this point, you're wondering how breakfast turned into a courtroom brawl.
One night, particularly, he went into the kitchen 3 or 4 times, and the whole night he was eating cereal. He was eating cereal.
And that's just what a bed
that was what a bed they would do.
Okay, but did that take cereal out of my children's
it didn't
mouth?
take the cereal. They couldn't eat the cereal.
Why are you on
So he drunk up all the milk.
You're saying
for
somebody
milk.
be on little things like
She had to ask me.
Things turn serious when they start talking about money. Ms. Scott says her mom once gave her a bounce check that caused major problems, but the mom denies it. It's a classic she said moment, with both sides yelling over each other.
But let you tell it you paid our rent 5 and 6 months, Mom.
That's when I was staying with you when you were
But
on
when
Tucker
have you
CG,
ever
and as
paid
soon
our
as I
rent for
moved
5
out,
or 6
y'all
months,
got me
Mom?
dick because you couldn't
because
continue
you
to
gave
pay
me a
the rent.
bounce check.
No, I gave it. I didn't give you. I canceled $400 of it. Mike had an $800 check, but I had to take 4 of it to move out of your house because I got tired of living in the situation.
Ms. Scott is still upset about that check and claims it made her family lose their home. Her mom argues that she doesn't owe them anything and was just trying to help. The back and forth here is so wild, even Judge Lake can't keep a straight face.
She came to live with us from Asheville. She was in treatment. She left treatment. She cleaned. She came and lived with us. For for the first year, we did not ask her for no money. Every week she got her unemployment, she used her money on her. If I did go to her for dollars here and there, okay, you living with us. She didn't have to buy no food. She did not have to do none of that. Now, at the end of the year, we got in the bind.
Just when you think it couldn't get crazier, Ms. Scott accuses her mom of doing grown-up stuff in the living room while living in their house. And yes, the kids almost saw it. The mom denies it, but by now, it's clear this family needs way more than a courtroom. They need a therapist.
Now, she's acting like a little high school girl while she was living with us, sleeping with him in the house. Like one morning, we getting the kids ready for daycare. Toy wouldn't have walked in the living room. Kids would have seen her full moon. Doing what
having sex
with the children.
Having sex.
You're right.
Ms. Scott drops another bomb, claiming her mom kissed her husband on the cheek, and not just a little peck. She says it was a slobbery, gross kiss. The mom says it's a lie, but the damage is already done. The drama here is messier than a soap opera.
What about the day when we was in the home having a couple of drinks, Your Honor? She's about to leave. I walk her out to her car. Something just told me to, just look back out the door. She done got out her car, walked up to our car where Toy was sitting, and kissed him on his cheek. A slobbery kiss. If he would have turned his face, that would have been tongue kissing.
The husband, Mr. Young, finally gets his turn. He says the mom has made weird comments about how helpful he is, and even wanted him to help her set up a tent. Yes, a tent. He also thinks she has a crush on him, and adds that she's got some mental problems. The courtroom is now officially on fire.
She always touching me on my chest.
What chest?
She always saying, you do more than I can my son or the man I'm sleeping with to do, to have me come and do things.
God.
She even came out the blue one day to even come and get me by myself to come and pick up a tent for her. Man, she's sleeping with in the same house.
The lie detector test results are in, and here's what we find out. The mom didn't make any moves on her son-in-law and doesn't want to. Everyone's relieved, kind of, but it's still super awkward. The judge is like, can we all agree to stop being weird now?
Ms. Scott McCrae, you were asked, have you ever made any sexual advances towards your son-in-law, Toy? You said no.
No.
And the lie detector determined that was true.
Yes, it was.
Whoa, this courtroom is a total soap opera. Ms. Dixon is here to prove Mr. Froyo is her dad, even though his name's on her birth certificate and he's been denying her for years. Oh, and she's also battling cancer while sorting out her family drama. Talk about heavy.
This is the case of Dixon v. Froyo. Ms. Dixon, today you come to our court after a very difficult journey, some grave health issues in your state. You say you believe that Mr. Froyo is your father, and he has denied you since you were a little girl, even though he signed your birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dixon spills the tea on her rough past. At her grandma's funeral, Mr. Froyo told her not to cry because she's not your grandmother. Ouch. Later, he even suggested another guy might be her dad. Between her health struggles and constant rejection, this is heartbreak central.
I just want to know. I don't want him to feel sorry for me. He says he's not my dad, but he'll be there for me. I don't need a charity case, if he's not my daddy. But if he is, I'd like him to know, I've been through so much. My grandmother passed away, his mother, in '98, told me my tears weren't needed because it wasn't my grandmother. I was 10. He told me when I was about 15 that a man named Tom Ashley was my father.
Then Ms. Dixon's mom jumps in with fire, accusing Mr. Froyo of inventing some random Tom Ashley to dodge responsibility. She claims he only denied Ms. Dixon because he wanted a son. Yikes! The courtroom is shook as Mr. Froyo claps back, and the drama is just getting started.
He would not give me a phone number, an address. He wouldn't tell me where he was taking her, and I wasn't having that. And there is no Tom Ashley. You know what? If there is a Tom Ashley, I would like to meet him because got to be a better dad than him. He denies her because she was a girl. That's why he denied her.
Is that
he
true,
wanted
Mr.
a boy.
No.
Mr. Froyo has Ms. Dixon's name tattooed with his other kids, so why deny her? He blames last name drama, leaving everyone confused. Just when it seems like things couldn't get messier, Ms. Dixon drops even more emotional truths, and the room is reeling.
He tattooed my name on his arm. Like he said he's got older children. All 4 of us are in a row, from oldest to youngest. My name's on his arm.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. Up till 5 years ago, Your Honor.
Are you serious right now? You denied me in '98.
Look, simple reason is, Your Honor, why does Samantha have Dixon for her last name if I am true her biological father and it's not my last name?
Ms. Dixon reveals battling cancer while caring for her kids with zero support from Mr. Froyo. At 19, she had no hair and no help, yet she powered through. The judge practically begs Mr. Froyo to show some humanity, and the tension is so thick it's suffocating.
And they stayed together 5 years after I was born. And he denied me when I was 8. He denied me when I was 15. He denied me again when I was 7. I don't want anything from him physically. I just want to know that he doesn't need to be my dad to feel sorry for me. I battled cancer for 6 years by myself with nobody there. He's lost his mother to cancer. You would think being that if you thought I was your daughter, why wouldn't you want to be there?
Ms. Dixon opens up about seeking love in all the wrong places after being rejected by Mr. Froyo as a teen. She lost twins and faced even more heartbreak while he stayed distant. The courtroom is floored as her pain becomes undeniable.
I didn't have a dad. I had no male figure in my life to lay the law. My mom was working 60 hours a week to support the home. She had 2 other kids besides me. I lost my virginity and got pregnant with twins. I called Sam when I was pregnant with them twins, and he asked me if they were meant. And I told him they were. And you know what? Well, when my twins died January 17th, I called him, and he told me it was meant to happen. He showed up to the funeral because they were dead. That's the only reason why.
The results are in.
When it comes to Samantha Ashley, Mr. Froyo, you are her father.
Told you. That was Bob Ashley.
Okay, so things kick off with Mr. Jenkins throwing out some pretty wild accusations. Ms. Hensley is like, yeah, I messed up before, but this kid's yours, and I'm gonna prove it. Buckle up, folks. This drama is just getting started.
Mr. Jenkins, you say your girlfriend is a known cheater who has spent the last 2 years bouncing between you, her ex-boyfriends, and her co-worker, and can't be trusted. You say there is no way you are the father of her daughter, Asher, and this paternity doubt has put your wedding on hold.
Now we hear how their relationship is basically a slow-motion train wreck. Even though they live together, he barely helps out with Asher because he's not convinced the kid is his. Yikes. But wait, the backstory gets even messier.
It's really put the relationship on a line because I love being with her, but it's making me have more and more doubts as time goes on because I keep finding more and more cases.
Because at this point, you don't believe anything she says?
No, Your Honor.
Which is why you basically canceled the wedding?
Yes, Your Honor. I've been sleeping on the couch and doing very minimal things to help with the baby and such since I don't believe that it's mine.
Here comes the first big twist, and it's spicy. She's like, it was innocent, chill, but then some old texts pop up, and they're all like, miss you, or whatever. Awkward. This is just the warm-up, though.
There arose one time when we were first together for 4 weeks. We worked at the same location. Text her, and she was going to come over and spend the night. Well, she ended up messaging me saying, hey, I'm staying late until 2 a.m. at midnight is when she was supposed to get off. And I noticed the business was already closed. Then I realized there's only 2 vehicles there, her car and her ex-boyfriend's truck.
As if the parking lot thing wasn't enough, Mr. Jenkins is now side-eyeing Ms. Hensley's co-worker. Apparently, her friends were all, girl, ditch Jenkins, but she stayed loyal. Sounds complicated, right? Just wait until we get to the baby drama.
We were working at a factory at the time. She had a fellow co-worker that would always come over and like fake nudge her, joke with her, flirt with her, talk with her, and I never could trust him. Yet one night, I went through her phone again, and she was messaging her manager about the co-worker saying he's so cute, but yet he knows about David.
All right, so even though he signed the birth certificate, Mr. Jenkins admits he's been keeping his distance from baby Asher. Like, seriously, how do you not cry at that? Jenkins is all stuck in his feelings, but things are about to take a sharp turn when the truth finally drops.
And so what is your relationship like with Asher?
I love her because I was there when she was born, somewhat helped to take care of her.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Even though you had doubt?
I was in a state of mind where I was very shocked as to what I had just seen because I had never seen a child being born before.
Why are you signing birth certificates if you have doubt?
I was completely frazzled at the time. I didn't know what was going on.
And boom, the moment we've all been waiting for, the DNA results. Guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jenkins, you are the father.
Okay, this whole thing kicks off with Mr. Moore saying he's Allie Luna's dad, but claims Ms. Scott won't let him in her life. But wait, you're not gonna believe what Ms. Scott drops on us next.
You came to court today to prove you are the biological father of 4-year-old Aliana. You and your current girlfriend claim the defendant has played on your emotions for 4 years. You are desperate to put the defendant's doubt to rest so you can finally be in your daughter's life.
Ms. Scott straight up calls Mr. Moore her escape plan. Oh, but the wild stuff about her other boyfriend is just around the corner.
We met on a dating site. He was kind of like an escape plan for something that I was going through. So I wanted to,
plan.
Yeah.
Escape plan.
I wanted to get away from that, so, you know, I kind of led him on. I wasn't trying to pursue nothing, you know, family or anything with this man. We met together. He asked me to move in with him. We maybe stayed together maybe a month, and I left.
Things just keep getting crazier. Ms. Scott admits she was in a whole other relationship while living with Mr. Moore. Just wait until they start breaking down when this baby was actually made.
Ms. Scott, did you use protection?
No, it wasn't protected.
You all were only seeing one another?
Like, I was currently in a relationship when I met him originally.
So why would you do that?
He was my escape plan. He was my dummy, basically.
Oh, here's where it gets real. Mrs. Scott says she found out she was pregnant at a clinic in September 2013. Buckle up, because the timeline of who did what and when is about to get a whole lot messier.
I found out I was pregnant September 2013. I was going to the clinic for, my yearly monthly women's exam. They came in and said, Miss Scott, you're pregnant. So I told my daughter's father that we were going to have a baby. I never missed the more that we were going to have a baby together. I never told him that.
Your Honor, she called me and told me she was pregnant.
She did?
Yes,
Never.
Get ready to have your brain scrambled. Judge Lake pulls out a conception calculator and figures out the baby was likely conceived between July 28 and August 3. But hold on, the DNA test is creeping up, and it's gonna be good.
So when was Aliana born?
April 25th.
April 25th. If I hit calculate, the window of conception is July 28th to August 3rd. And you claim you were in a relationship with Mr. Moore in July.
We had sex, Your Honor, in July and August.
Not from my remembrance, no.
Just when you think this case couldn't get any crazier, the court pulls out pictures of Mr. Moore's other kid and Allie Luna. She's like, nope, she looks like me and my man. The court's about to hit us with the ultimate truth bomb. Stay tuned.
Your son and Miss Scott's daughter was submitted to the court. And on the left side is Mr. Moore's other child with you, Ms. Williams.
Yes.
They don't look alike. Baby looks like him. My daughter looks like me, and she resembles her dad.
She looks like me. She got the same pointed ears just like I do. She has the same forehead as it resembles mine.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA test comes back, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Moore, you are the father.
Buckle up, because this case is already wild before it even starts. In Kidd vs. Rawlings, Mr. Kidd claims Ms. Rawlings convinced him he was her baby's father, then swapped him out for someone better. Meanwhile, Ms. Rawlings insists Mr. Kidd couldn't be the dad, since he told her he couldn't have kids. Things are about to get even messier.
You say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family, and you are 100% positive are her son's father.
The testimonies begin, and it's a chaotic he said, she said showdown. Mr. Kidd says Ms. Rawlings told him he was the father, even writing him letters while he was away. Ms. Rawlings counters that she had other partners at the time. This story is just getting started.
When this first started off, she came to me and told me that he was mine. She was sending me letters when I was gone.
And so you were away when she found out she was pregnant?
I went away a month after she found out she was pregnant.
Did you tell him it was his child, Ms. Rawlings?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rawlings admits she was juggling 2 relationships during conception, claiming she didn't know who the father was. She also says Mr. Kidd claimed he was infertile. The drama keeps building, and we're only scratching the surface.
We were in a serious relationship. I was actually at some point, once I left from being around Mr. Kidd, that I was actually staying with him.
So how often were you with Mr. Kidd, and how often were you with the other guy?
Pretty much going back and forth, because I was staying with him. I was leaving from being with Mr. Kidd to going with him and coming back to Mr. Kidd.
Here comes the science part, and it just makes things more confusing. Mr. Kidd's mom explains a rare blood condition that could complicate pregnancy, but not make it impossible. Despite this, Ms. Rawlings stands firm. Mr. Kidd isn't the father, and confusion reigns.
It's not a rare blood disease. I am AORH negative, and he is ARH negative. During the pregnancy, it could prevent her from having future children, or that child could pass away.
So, Mr. Kidd, did you ever tell Ms. Rawlings you didn't believe you could have children?
Yes, ma'am. I informed her of the situation because I typically, in a long-term relationship, I've never any kind of hiccup.
Ms. Jenkins arrives, convinced the baby is her grandson. She insists the baby looks just like Mr. Kidd, showing off pictures to prove her point. But everyone's still wondering, who's really the dad?
It was approximately the mid of August of 2016.
And at that time, were you aware that your son was in a relationship with Ms. Rawlings?
No.
We've never been in a relationship.
Wasn't just a sexual relationship?
No, ma'am. She just needed somewhere to stay. So I was just looking out for her, and it just became a sexual encounter.
It was an encounter?
More than one.
Accusations fly, with Ms. Rawlings accused of leading Mr. Kidd and his mom on. Meanwhile, the second potential dad also claims the baby looks like him. Are we doing paternity tests for everyone now?
Me being me as a mother, and I wasn't able to grow up with my father. Mr. Kidd can't see the moments that he's missing, at least his mom will be able to have them, and his family has some stories to tell.
But as you stand here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
We learned that Ms. Rawlings once handed over the baby to Ms. Jenkins temporarily for help. Ms. Jenkins even had a handwritten custody note, but it only adds more confusion. This situation raises more questions than it answers.
I got a handwritten letter of custody.
Because of the fact that I had got a job that was paying $10 an hour, and I didn't have anybody to watch him. At the same time, trying to figure out who's going to watch my child and me not. That since she was there, that my child.
At that specific time, you did not have a job yet.
I know,
2 days
and
before that.
Dr. Gator explains that Mr. Kidd's infertility might not be as definite as he thought. Childhood infections could have affected his sperm, but not completely. Now everyone's on edge, just waiting for the DNA results.
So I think there's two separate issues here. There was an issue about RH blood. That has to do with a mother and a baby, and if there's different blood types between the father of the baby, positive and negative. And so there are various childhood infections from mumps to STIs like gonorrhea and chlamydia. Those can cause inflammation in the testicles and makes it difficult for you to emit sperm.
The results are in and the tension is high.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kidd, you are the father.
This whole thing kicks off with a bang. Judge Lake introduces Mr. Scott, who's here to dodge accusations from multiple women claiming he's their baby daddy. Mr. Scott owns up to 6 kids with 3 women, but says, no way, not number 7 with Ms. Crane. The courtroom's already buzzing, and you just know it's gonna get messier before it clears up.
Mr. Scott, you say you are appearing in court today to clear your name. You state many women, including the defendant, have dragged your reputation through the mud, claiming you are the father of their children. You admit to having 6 kids by 3 different women, but state that the defendant is not mother number 4 with child number 7.
Mr. Scott doubts Jaylynn is his, pointing to shady calls and Ms. Crane getting rides from random dudes. Ms. Crane calls him insecure, while the judge wonders if they were ever a real couple. Then, the twist. Mr. Scott was supposedly divorced, but Ms. Crane reveals he was still hanging with his ex-wife. The drama just keeps piling on.
When we're together, her cell phone will ring, she'll walk out the room. She'll leave her cell phone with her best friend. Or like after we spend the night with each other, instead of me taking her home, she'll like walk home and I'll just peep at her and look at her and see what she's doing. And she has other dudes picking her up on her. And she admitted it to me about other dudes picking her up. I don't need to put his name out there.
That's insecurity, Your Honor. Insecurity. He's a grown man.
Ms. Crane says she was 7 months pregnant when she discovered Mr. Scott was married, thanks to snooping on his phone. She even called his wife, who told her to get an abortion, and hung up. Mr. Scott admits he was with his ex, but says it's no big deal. Spoiler alert, things are about to get even wilder, with tattoos and more accusations.
Your Honor, I was 7 months pregnant. I didn't know where Marcel was. He used my phone one time. He deleted all his calls, so I went back on the internet, back to the research, called all the numbers he called, and found out he was married for 9 years.
That's true, I was married, but I've been divorced December 2009.
No, actually, he was at the woman's house, and he actually picked up the phone. So the lady was like, who is this calling from Marcel? I said, well, I'm his baby mama, his girlfriend.
Tattoos, lies, and chaos take center stage. Ms. Crane denies knowing about Mr. Scott's other kids, but he's got their names tattooed. He also claims Ms. Crane hid the baby's face during a run-in with his ex's family, which she says was to avoid harassment. And they accuse each other of cheating, like arguing over who ate the last cookie.
And he lied about all of his kids. I didn't know he had no kids.
She lied because I got tattoos all over my body. I got all my kids' names on my neck, on my back.
That don't mean nothing. Your Honor, I didn't ask him nothing about no tattoos.
She said it was your brother. But then come to find it's another dude that's holding the baby. Well, I don't know if she still has it, but what she told me recently that she had it covered up. She has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 2.
No, Your Honor, I had 1, and that was my ex-boyfriend for 5 years.
Mr. Scott swears he didn't put those hickeys on Ms. Crane, and she claims it doesn't matter because they weren't together then. He says she kept him from doctor visits, while she says she had her reasons. The judge is clearly over it, but they still need to figure out who supported the baby.
And then while she's pregnant, she had hickeys on her neck. And I didn't give her them hickeys. You know what I mean? And when she was pregnant, she didn't even tell me she was pregnant. I said, well, let me take you to Kaiser Permanente Hospital. She told me to go to the Kaiser Permanente in Lancaster, and she's at the Kaiser Permanente in Palmdale. I take care of all my kids.
And so you're trying to take
kids.
her to the medical appointment.
Yeah, she wouldn't let me take her.
And she telling you she's at one branch, you at the other branch.
They argue about who did what for baby Jaylynn. Ms. Crane says Mr. Scott is a part-time dad, showing up once a year. Mr. Scott blames her for keeping him away. The judge steps in like a referee, and just then, a surprise witness enters. With more baby drama,
I got home from work. My
All
son
right.
was outside playing.
Ja.
He came. He was at the front gate. So he was like, Jalen, come here. Jalen, come here. So I'm like, who's calling my son? He gave my son $1. 5 minutes after talking to me and my son, he took it back.
What?
Exactly.
I'll be honest with you.
Scott.
I'll be honest with you. She got me confused with another dude because I never did that.
Please,
I never
oh
did
my
that. This is
God.
the only time.
Miss Kaylon arrives claiming Mr. Scott is the father of her baby too. Things get so heated that the judge slams her gavel to keep order. Ms. Crane and Miss Kaylon tag team against Mr. Scott, who's left trying to defend himself. The tension is about to explode. The DNA results are in.
He's my daughter's father too. My daughter's 4 months old.
So you claim you also have a child by him, and he's denying paternity?
He wants paternity test. I have it.
Yeah, she had no problem.
Nothing.
No, I communicate with her
It's
good. There's no
nothing.
problem with her.
When it comes to 3-year-old Jalen Crane, Mr. Scott, our father.